Hey, it's the Bennington Show on a Friday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I'm Ron Bennington. Who was that we opened with today?
That is Savoy Motel, and the song is Sorry People. And it's getting a lot of heat right now. It's getting a lot of
a little bit of heat. It's something catchy. They get something snappy going on.
There is something very snappy. My friend Kevin runs the label that they're on. It's called What's Your Rupture? And I think he's really done it this time.
I think that he's just hooked onto a shooting star. You got to ride that thing. So the band is
Savoy Motel.
And the song?
And the song is Sorry People. I tweeted it out for anyone interested.
Good. I should have retweeted it. I got to sign up, though, before I retweet. What is that? Was that on Twitter?
Yeah, that's on the Twitter tweets.
I like the sound. Where would you put that sound, though?
Well, when I heard it, I felt like it was quite Beckish.
Oh,
but Beckish. Maybe the reason I think it's Beckish is it's kind of like an eclectic. Like it's like a little rocky. There's like a little bit of
Do you know that
keyboard.
Yeah, I'm working on a Beck tribute show right now.
Really?
With a young lady. I call it Becky. And
shut up, Becky.
It is. It's just that's what people yell at her, but they don't want her to shut up. That means rock more. Becky, do your shut up, Becky.
Shut up, Becky.
That's the best thing that ever happened on The Simpsons. I don't know why. I don't know why, but that
because it was leading up to her being like, I know what I should have said to her.
The thing is, The Simpsons itself peaked at that moment.
Yep. It was all downhill.
And fast.
Who was Becky?
She was like a nice girl who...
like there was I think a comic. Was it Janine Garofalo?
No, I think it was the girl from Roseanne, and now she's on the Talk.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what her name is. I think it's Becky. I think her real name is Becky. That's why they went with that. Look, Chris has busted his ass. Oh, Vito's got it first. What is it, Vito?
It was Parker Posey.
Parker Posey. I knew it was someone I loved.
All right, now I love it even more. Now I want to rewatch that 1,000,000 times in a row. If I was, let's suppose I was dating Parker Posey, and let's also say this, it could happen. And I felt like she was trying to, maybe she had too much to drink, and she was, trying to get in a fight with some other people, and I wanted to chill her out. I would just put her down on the couch. I said, you better park your Posey right there, lady.
That's good.
I've always planned that in my mind. You just park your Posey. I'll straighten this thing out. You're with a real guy now, not some pre-hipster. She's a heartbreaker, that Parker Posey.
She is.
She's broke a lot of hearts, and she should. I wish I was one of them.
I met someone who was one of her victims.
One of her suitors? One of her one-time suitors?
Yes. And he was dating her. I'm going to forget what he does, but I think he's a filmmaker or something. But he was dating her while she was working on Waiting for Guffman.
Wow. That was a great time to be dating her.
It's a very solid
dater. I remember she came in one time, and I brought up that her and Chris went to the same school, and she was under the impression that they went there at the same time.
Thought we were the same age.
Yeah,
right.
And was bringing up different names like, "Hey, you ever hear from Hansel anymore?"
Professor Thompson, what a dick, right? Yeah, Parker.
She never used the word professor.
I thought she brought up a professor.
She might have, but she wouldn't use the word professor. She was on a first name basis with everybody in her whole life, no matter who it is. She's in the latest Woody Allen too. It seems like she's one of Woody's latest. Well, there's a gal I can use to speak like me.
I have to. You mean the TV show?
No,
okay.
I don't watch the TV show. I don't know where it is. I don't know. It says it's on Amazon, but what I got a delivery man to fucking just tell me what's happening in it? I don't know how it all works.
There's an app, Amazon Prime.
All right, in my day, we didn't have apps. We had a goddamn TV set. It was very thick. I'm literally 2 months away from being able to comfortably be that guy. You know what I mean? 2 months. And another 2 months, I can get... Well, I will say this. I was at the big Comedy Central party last night.
Oh.
I didn't even plan on going. It was a last-second thing. They said, Ron, you simply have to be there. But... So, and I left Big J's, no, it's not Big J's, it's Louis J. Gomez's show, Mashup, and me and Big J mashed up, and then everyone was like, hey, you're going to this party? So I went, and, the whole thing was, it's a really, good food and drink and open bar, and it's, a real Manhattan night. But we'll just do a lap and get out of there. Just do a lap and say our hellos, and end up sitting on a couch next to Rich Voss while people came up to us. And I go, we're really at a grandma fucking stage of our life.
That is like grandma position. Like you put her on the couch and then everyone goes to visit her.
Yes.
Like at Easter. You're
Yes.
like, hi.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to go get you some punch.
And Rich and I both had our purses just sitting on our laps.
I gotta get home to feed the dogs.
Oh, yeah. So fun. There's Anthony Edwards just walked by us.
He's taller than I thought he would be.
Well, I never thought about how tall he would be.
A lot of actors aren't that tall, though.
I don't see height.
Can I tell you, that's nice. That's scary, actually. You might need to see someone.
Everyone's the same height to me.
That's Goose, my friends. Well, fucking Goose died?
Goose.
Forget about it. Nobody.
Spoiler alert.
So the big New York Comedy Festival is going on, and it's a ball. It really is. It's all over town, and everybody's having fun. And last night, I made sure I picked up for you, the listener, we're going to give away a pair of tickets to see Tig Notaro this Saturday, November 5th at 7 o'clock, Carnegie Hall in New York City. And if you want to purchase tickets, that's NYComedyFestival.com. Now, and people were abuzz about this at the big CC show last night. I wish you were there, Vito. I know that you made all the shows in Montreal. You missed this one. They said Tig is going to do something outrageous that is going to create a stir. And I said this, do tell me. And they said, no, it's a secret.
What is this thing going to be?
No one knows. I think she even announced herself. Tig is a person who's done some, she's a very, very laid back performer, very, very funny, but she likes to shock and all a little bit.
She makes some pretty bold and brave choices.
So,
but you're right, but her actual personality and her delivery is very laid back despite that.
So I was given 100 pair of tickets, but I kept 99 of them, and I'm giving away one. So we just have one pair, right?
We actually have two pair. We have two pair. Two pair for a Tig Notaro show tomorrow night at Carnegie Hall in New York City.
That's very nice. And if you've never been to Carnegie Hall, you simply must go.
You must. How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
What I do is I go right to 57th Street.
Wait,
and then,
you're doing this wrong.
What? It's on 57th Street. I've been there many times. But 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God, for some tickets to see Tig. And she's great. And then, you're taking your chick out to Carnegie Hall. It's very nice.
That's a very classy affair.
It's nice to go to Carnegie Hall and not be like, oh, I wish this music would stop. My favorite night, I've been at Carnegie Hall for a couple really great occasions. And I hate to pick one, but I'm going to. And it's that the Wainwright Christmas thing, which is my favorite thing in the world. And then they had it at Town Hall one year. I know you were at Town Hall last night.
I was at Town Hall to see Bridget Everett, and it was phenomenal. Now, you guys know that I love her.
We all love her.
Every time she comes in, she's great. I loved her special. Does not compare to being there live in the audience. It was a fucking blast. It was so fun. She was hilarious. The music was great. She's out in the crowd. She's mashing her tits in people's faces. It was so much fun. And yet I was in a very safe place on the balcony looking down. Good. So I was I could enjoy the fear and tension of the crowd below and think, no one's going to pull me on stage and pick me up and play me like a guitar.
I wish that she would anyway. I wish that she would have done that anyway. Bump, 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 bump.
You love it. You love Savoy Motel.
I did not realize that I was even doing Savoy Hotel.
See, now that's how you know a good song. You're thinking about it.
I go all the way back where I saw Savoy Brown play before, who I consider I'm going to say a mother figure to Savoy. And that was with the great Kim Simmons playing guitar, one of the greatest guitar players I've ever seen in my life. Name never pops up now when people are making up lists of guitar players.
I wonder why. Why are some forgotten?
I don't know. I don't know why people go some people like Robin Trower or Rory Gallagher. Time is not as kind to as I would have expected.
That's cruel.
Yeah. I used to say this when I was a kid growing up. Time is a minority just ready to rob us at any chance.
Oh, really?
I like that saying.
I don't, because I'm not a racist.
That isn't racist.
Yeah.
Look.
Okay.
Can I tell you something? When I'm in a post-Trump world, which is coming next Wednesday, people are going to say, damn it, Ron, you're quite pussy when it comes to talking about things. Let it all out there.
Don't be so PC.
Right.
Richards and Sons.
I'm actually racist about certain villages in Korea. That's how far I'll go.
Wow, that's really specific.
Yeah, I get as specific as humanly possible.
The villages?
No. I can't tell. A lot of times I'll even say that about a Japanese person. I can't tell where any Asian is from. That's the thing about me. And there's 2 billion of them, and that would be a great game show. Where is this Asian from?
I think I would be really good at it. I'm not kidding.
Dude, I don't know whether people would get mad at that, but if you just have Asians come out and they, talk about, you get to ask them some questions, and then you have to guess what part of Asia they're from.
I like that this started with, I don't know if people would be mad about this.
No, because it's actually fun. Because how Pakistan and India fight all the time. I can't fucking tell them apart.
Yeah.
I can't tell the Israelis from the Palestinians either. If I'm going to be fucking totally honest, I know they don't like each other. I can't for the life of me see why.
Really?
They're the same fucking dude. The Turks fight with Greeks. Lost on me. Now, French, English, Scottish, Welsh, tell apart immediately. It's like you're able to tell somebody from Chicago, somebody from Atlanta.
Right.
You can do it.
I think I would be. Someone just tweeted us too that they can't get the guitar riff out of their head.
It's a very fucking cool little riff, and it doesn't feel modern in that riff, and yet I'd never heard it before.
It's a very cool thing.
Oh man, I wish I had a record company. I wish that was my band right now. I wish I had 2 record companies. That one, I'm just like playing commercial music.
The money maker.
Oh, yeah. And it's really getting money for my passion project. It's for my freaky little label. And those people just, the artists in there, oh my God, the way they worship me.
Maybe the Passion Project is a good name for your label. The Passion Project.
I want to have a label without a name and probably no distribution.
It's just like you listening to music in your basement.
First, I got to get a basement. This is a shocker. This is a little bit of it's a spy report, is what it is.
Spy report.
You're not even trying it.
Did you say pie report?
Yeah, he did.
He's hungry. Leave him alone.
Said pie report.
He's hungry.
Hosting SNL November 12th. I believe this is for the first time ever, and this is going to be gigantic ratings. Dave Chappelle.
Whoa! Holy shit!
Yeah.
That's huge.
Now, Dave, if you show up 40 minutes late, then we can start the show.
Showed up late smoking, just chain smoking.
Holy crap, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
Oh my God. I can't believe he's doing it. That's awesome.
Musical guest that night. Savoy Motel.
What? Man.
It's looking good for them.
I know. He really broke since this morning.
Oh, we got a show that we want to plug too.
Our buddy Andy Fiore has a New York Comedy Festival show. Andy and Leia Are Afraid of Dying. That's happening Friday, November 4th at 7 p.m. at the New York Comedy Club. Use the promo code DEAD for $10 tickets. That's NewYorkComedyClub.com for tickets. Andy and Leia Are Afraid of Dying.
All right, someone just wrote, I'm jacking to that riff.
Holy shit, are you ready for this?
I don't know if I am.
All right, because I found out the musical guest, and you guys are going to fucking freak. And the person who was at the center of it all was Tom Rhodes, because he told us that when he was with Chappelle, they went out to a party that night with the guys from A Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, my
Yes.
God. I want to go to
show?
Dude, I want to go to this so bad.
Oh my God. This can't be real, can
This
it?
is fucking real.
Is this real life?
Holy shit.
I really want to go to that show.
Bum, 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 bum.
Sorry for the window.
Do you have Rhodes' number?
Yes, I do.
Let's try to get a hold of him. And then you told me that you have a sneak video that you wanted to play today too.
Yeah, almost like TMZ.
Did you, and you said you wanted to keep it from me?
I wanted to keep it from you, yeah.
Did you send it to get it put up on?
Yes, I did. I'll double check, but I believe I sent it last night.
Am I still plugged in? No, I'm not.
Bum, 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 bum.
No, I'm told no, Chris.
All right, I'm resending. I'm sending now.
Resending or sending for the first time? Wait a second. Imagine if we had to guess where Comedy 101 Phil is from.
He's Filipino.
Did we give out just the one pair of those tickets, or did we give out two pair?
We didn't give them away yet.
Okay, because I didn't make the announcement. All right, I'll make the announcement in about 10 minutes. Thought I made the announcement. We have a thing where I'm saying Chris can't really have them, going back. I don't want him managing from there, and I don't have Vito managing yet either. So it's a cringe moment, but that's okay. We move on. You're in charge of him, right?
Mm.
So I don't lay him out. That's your job.
Okay.
Good. All right. By the way, they only call him Phil is because they say he's from Philadelphia.
That's why?
I never picked up a single Philadelphia thing about him.
Really?
I had him down as Inuit. Is that even a fucking thing?
That's a thing.
Okay, good.
From up north.
Dan calls him Phil Philly. I saw Dan at the big party last night.
Yeah?
Oh.
Well, he's a very big deal now.
He is.
So, Dan, of course, was our intern for quite some time. Then he came to work for us, and now he sold a big cartoon that is making him a cartoon giant in this business. And so there's a crowd of people sitting around. So the lady comes over and says, can I get you guys some drinks? And people start to order drinks. And I go, hey, wait. Dan will go get the drinks. I go, you should have seen this kid. He was so fast getting my water. Remember that, Dan? Like a spit shine, he would get you going.
Good.
Just the opposite, Chris.
Oh.
I'm very good about treating people as their new position. And I respect people for the positions that they're in. You know what I didn't like at that party last night? They would come around. You know how the food is on a toothpick?
Yeah.
Well, the toothpicks would be in a lemon, and then you had to take it out of the lemon and stick it into your shrimp or chicken or whatever. And it was just too much work.
Yeah, pre-stick for
And
us,
sometimes you had to reach over and grab the lemon and hold on to it, and then pull that out, shove it into a thing. Just have the stick sticking out. I know it doesn't look as good. Bum, 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 bum. All right, tell me when you got that up.
Will do.
And if you'd like to go to, I'll give away a pair of tickets now. If you'd like to go to Carnegie Hall this Saturday night, Tig Notaro is performing. It's supposed to be, like I said, she's going to do something outrageous. It's a night out at Carnegie Hall with a very, very funny Tig Notaro. 844 Rock God. 844 Rock God. Pick up that telephone. Give us a call right now. 844 Rock God for the first pair of tickets to see Tig Notaro at Carnegie Hall. Now, do you have that up?
It's not up yet.
If you do some of this stuff before the show and check on it, I wouldn't have to kill time because I got guests coming in.
I know.
In just a little bit.
I thought I'd take care of it last night. I fucked up.
Well, maybe we'll do it Monday then, because I can't be fucking around with you. You know?
I know.
I know that, well, why don't you play this? This is from Chicago the other night. And it's pretty exciting. This is somebody was on the rooftop at the second we gave out that we found out that the Cubs had won. And that's not able and ready to go?
It's not loading. It's buffering. It's YouTube. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Go tell that asshole about me.
Holy shit. It sounds like a war zone.
People actually had fireworks, tons of fireworks ready to go at the exact second they had won.
It actually sounds like a war zone, and it kind of looks like one, too. You know, like
Yes.
it looks like...
It's a war zone of happiness, though. It's a war zone of happiness.
It's a happy war.
It's the best kind.
Jesus. Well, they deserve it.
Yeah, quick break. We're right back. Bennington. I just saw on the Interabang the picture of the day. It's an Instagram post put up by Jenny from the block, Jennifer Lopez, that she took a selfie of herself and her ass and her side tit. And I believe that still makes her queen of the ass to this day.
She has just kept it up. Like, she still looks...
It's a lot of years now. We're closing
incredible.
in on 20 years that ass has been famous. Now, I'm not saying it's consistent. I'm not saying every day the ass looks great.
Right.
But here she is pretty late into the game, okay? I mean, you know, people are talking like the Patriots quarterback is not going to be here forever at 39, and we better cherish Mr. Tom Brady. I'm going to say this. That ass has been around longer than Tom Brady and has more Super Bowl rings.
It could fit more Super Bowl rings.
Again, people are always thinking that the ass is just to stuff things into. This comes up
that's
quite
just
a bit.
me. You're right.
No, it's a lot of people. A lot of people.
I'll admit, I was fooled by the rocks that she got. But she proved to me she's still Jenny from the block.
Why is it so important for you to act like, oh, but I still belong on my block? No, you don't. You're queen of the world. That ass hasn't sat even in a first class seat in 15 years.
In fact, I think...
That ass flies private.
I think that... You know how we talked about this where it's like in the 80s it was all about tits, and then the 90s it started to be like ass time.
Yeah.
But it stayed. Like ass has been...
Ass it really blew up like in the early 2000s is when the ass first.
You don't
No,
think
she
like...
was the first very big ass.
Yeah, and that would be
was the
90s. And like with like hip hop on the rise, like ass culture became more of a thing.
Well, wait.
I mean, like when is the ass going to be dethroned?
What was the big ass rap song?
I like big butts.
And that was what year? That had to be early 90s.
Yeah, that would be like...
And that from that point on, I think the veil had been dropped, it was fucking fine for anyone to enjoy ass.
Right.
All the ass they wanted.
It was 92.
Okay.
Baby got back.
Yeah.
Now, you consider that the early 2000s, Chris?
I'm incorrect.
Yeah.
I'm incorrect.
But we haven't moved on. We haven't said.
Where else we going, dude? I mean, we just.
Here's the thing.
It's gonna
I'm
be all
saying
about labia and fucking.
ass is dead, but pussy's coming back in a big, big way. It's about time pussy grabbed back.
Maybe when the micro bikini finally gets fucking completely. Well, there was but she's smart here. She's also taken side tit into the equation.
Yeah, it's a little something for everyone.
And no one really talks about the breasts with J-Lo. It's all ass with her. Those are nice breasts.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, you're not going to be known for two things.
Yeah. Unless your thing is sometimes it's just figure. Like if you have the hourglass figure.
That was 50s.
Right. And then that chick from,
Sofia Vergara?
well, yeah, I guess so. She's known for the figure, the Mad Men chick.
Joan.
Yeah.
Christina Hendricks.
Christina Hendricks is known for like that, like big hourglass figure.
She's funny because she definitely looks better in clothes. You know what I mean? Like, she looks amazing in clothes. But she needs a little bit of hold up.
Just so huge.
They can start spreading all different directions that become somewhat unpleasant.
But she's got that like Jessica Rabbit body.
Oh, yeah. Jessica Rabbit maybe started off that whole scene.
Look at the size of that, just a broad.
Why are we away from Jenny? That's what we're fucking promoting here today.
God damn it, get back to that ass.
Now, this makes Jen Selter, I think, fucking just say, I'm not there yet. I got to keep working it. And I don't think Jen Selter, yes, she has the ass and all that, but she doesn't have the sexuality.
Right.
Like, that is a come hither look.
Yes.
That is, I will fucking lay you out. Her confidence will show why a Louis J. Gomez lacks confidence, because he grew up around these kind of women and they crushed his soul before he was even old enough to fight back.
Because here's the thing. Here's the difference between a Seltzer situation and Jenny from the block. Because Jenny has ass, she has tits, she's got face too.
Oh,
she's a beauty. She's a beauty.
Face. She also, because people are like, she's a bitch. But watch when she turns her attention on someone, they melt. Because I saw her when she did that Idol show. And when she decided that she likes someone, that person fucking loved life itself.
So they're just like, things must be great.
All right, that's up on the iBag. Now, you said you had a video prepared.
Yes.
And if you don't mind, I like Dan to come in. I see Disco Dan. I haven't seen him on the show in a while. And while we're setting this up, Chris, go and do the plug for the big show that we want everybody to go see this week.
That's our buddy Andy Fiore. He's performing as part of the New York Comedy Festival. The show is Andy and Leia Are Afraid of Dying. It's happening Friday, November 4th, tonight at 7 p.m. at the New York Comedy Club. Go to newyorkcomedyclub.com for tickets and use the promo code DEAD for $10 tickets.
Now, Dan, I wanted you to come in for a second because you're a person who understands bullying and you're not a fan, right?
No, I'm anti.
Now, you were raised at a time where bullying is not acceptable.
I would say we were like on the cusp of the whole like self-esteem movement.
I was not part of that at all. I was part of you gotta get a fucking board, hopefully has a nail in it, and hit the bully. That's what adults would tell you to do. Hit the fucker with a stick or get your buddies. They would never say, let me, get involved. They want you to, but you grew up with it. You were taught it in school. There's a video that Chris shot that I worry that it isn't bullying. Chris, why don't you just set up exactly what took place?
Okay, so I'm in the office here at SiriusXM.
Yeah.
And I noticed some sound coming from behind me.
Uh-huh.
And the sound is snoring. I turn around and I see someone sleeping behind me. And I figured I have to take a video of this. I have to.
Now, is that bullying already?
Yeah, absolutely. No consent is given, and you're shamed. That's shaming them.
Now, the person that was sleeping is Vito. And,
Okay.
and here's the sad thing about it. It's not the best look for Vito. Okay? So go ahead. Press play. Now, this is on our Twitter. Is that where it went up at eventually?
Bennington Show.
Bennington Show Twitter. And it's Vito sleeping in the office. And go ahead and hit it, Chris. Oh, my God, that face.
Fatty's sleeping.
All right. He said Fatty's sleeping. That's the worst angle ever.
Virtually horizontal.
All right. Now, here's the problem. Now, look, if he would have said this, Ron, I've taken a video of Vito sleeping, I would have immediately said, how do you know he's sleeping and not producing the show on air? Because it looks exactly the same. But he's laying down on an uncomfortable chair, and his face has fallen deeply into his neck. And then you're calling him fatty. And that's bullying, right, Dad?
100%.
Look, if you hear someone's story, you look around, and you see him laid out like that. How do you not document it? I mean, the loud snoring. It was just like, I had headphones on.
Oh, my
I was like, what
gosh.
the fuck is that? It's
You
Vito
are
snoring.
out like a light, too. Like, it's not like, oh, man, I'm a little tired
Vito.
to close my eyes. You're out.
He's like a turtle, though. Like his fucking, he's going, Vito.
It was the day after Comedy 101. We were out late, and I was getting ready to go to Gail's show, and I was so tired. I needed a 20-minute nap.
I was at both of those shows, by the way.
You actually performed
I
in
was in them.
Yeah.
The other side's really exhausting.
His exhaustion was from eating free cheese sticks while he watched you perform.
Oh,
All
my
right,
God.
play it again, Chris.
Oh, I'd love to. Fatty's sleeping.
Look, Davito's unhappy.
Snoring, man.
Now, Vito, I want you to be totally honest. How's that make you feel?
Feels pretty shitty. Not only is that the worst angle I've ever seen of myself, I look like I have no hair whatsoever.
You have
It
more.
looks like your toupee is falling off.
Yeah, you have more forehead than. I mean, straight on. I'm looking at you. I would never thought that you had a big forehead, but there it really looks like you do.
This is and you're just calling me fat while I'm asleep?
Fatty's sleeping.
He looks like he's dead. It looks like we're at a funeral.
He does look good.
Like when they put makeup on the
Yeah.
dead body.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, Vito, what are you going to do about this? Are you going to stand up to the bully, or are you just going to accept it?
I just don't get why he's being such a dick like he's never been asleep before.
Why did you do that to him?
Well, it was just very loud snoring. I was like, and like I just had to. I couldn't help myself when he was just so laid out in the middle of the office.
I got it. But why wouldn't you say, my friend is sleeping? My friend. Look, Vito is slowly starting to feel pissed, I think. You went from embarrassed to hurt to now you're like, yeah!
There's no fucking need to do that to someone.
You're right. You are right.
The stages of grief.
Like, there's no need at all. Like, just let me fucking sleep. Let me have my 20-minute nap I asked for.
Oh my
You
God.
fucked up.
How? By taking a nap?
Yes.
You've
So
slept
close
in
to
this building before.
Oh, I've slept in this building. I can't count the amount of times. I used to pass out on that couch right there all the time.
Yeah.
When there was a chair over there, I'd pass out for hours. I'm like just out. Turn the lights off, just fucking go unconscious. But now I won't be doing that again.
I think though this could be a hit on World Star. I really think black people would love to see the way white people treat each other.
Oh, this definitely should go to World Star. I want to see the comment section.
Like, why?
One more time, because I want to hear you say Patty's sleeping.
Sure, Gail.
The weird smile.
Patty's sleeping.
What a gentle little puppy snort he has.
Mike says, it can't be as troubling as the case involving Vito's missing neck. Your neck is gone.
Large man.
You normally have a neck.
Millie says, only someone who drinks tons of chocolate milk can snore like that.
You say that you don't, but clearly you do.
Oh, Chalky.
Vito's sleepy. Vito need nappy. Isn't that a bear? Perfect time for Popeye to steal his girl. That's an old reference, but I got it. Oh, God, that's just
mean.
That angle's really hard to look at.
Look, when
all of us.
When I turned around, I was like, goo! And just the room, the fucking snoring was so loud.
This came in too. Only black people film in that mode. What?
The vertical mode?
That's vertical mode as opposed to that's like
Did
landscape.
you do that on purpose?
No, it's just how
to World Star it?
I can't wait to get this up on World Star. They're going to love us.
Weirdo.
Me more than Vito, though, I think.
Vito. What are you going to do, buddy?
I'm going to fucking follow him out of the building. I'm going to stare at every chance I have. The first chance I have to get some fucking awful shot of him, I'm going to take it.
All right, this is on now.
All right.
This is,
the hunters become the hunted.
I'll be outside your apartment.
By the way, isolated, that actually sounds like a death threat.
Yeah.
I will take a shot at him.
I'll be pulling that.
To be used in a court of law.
If I was smart, I'd kill them both down and fucking say it was a murder-suicide.
Oh, my God.
That is horrific, dude.
I've never seen... I can't even describe how disgusted I am with my own face.
Aw.
It happens.
What's wrong, Fatty?
I don't think this was like a bullying deterrent, this whole segment.
Well, I want you to bring in to see if it's actual bullying or two friends that just started a kind of a video war against each other.
I'd have to call that bullying.
Can we all agree that sleeping in a glass office is wrong to begin with?
It's not a good idea. See, when I would pass out, I would pull the curtains in the studio and then curl up on that couch.
Where our guests sit?
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Now, you guys take it like, oh, I work so hard, I sometimes sleep at work. Imagine if you went past the boss's office and you saw him pass out. You'd just be like, this fucking place is off the rails.
Seems like these guys mean standing desks.
Never. I will never have a standing
The only
desk.
time they stand is to eat.
Even that, it's annoying. Glad I got this, documented this. It's office life, you know? Hashtag office life.
3 days ago. We've been next to each other for 3 days and you have this video.
And I've been loving it. Just thinking about it every single fucking minute.
Oh, this actually happened a couple days ago?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So you knew full well, you weren't doing something passed out. You thought to yourself, I'm going to get a quick nap in before I go out again tonight.
I actually turned to Chris and I said, hey, I'm going to take a 20-minute nap. So that even hurts more that he took this video. Because I said, hey, Chris, is it cool if I take a 20-minute nap? Chris said, "Yeah, go for it."
Oh,
Here's
my God.
Mark in Michigan. Mark.
$1,000,000, brother.
Million, man.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Hey, happy.
Hey, Vito, when you were sleeping, were you dreaming in somebody else's dream? Because we're all in somebody else's dream.
He got you.
Dope.
Fat and dumb. I can say that because we're friends.
Sleeping anymore. So, Dan, tell me once and for all: is this a full case of bullying?
It's at least a half case of bullying.
You were laughing.
I'm not saying I'm.
That makes you a bully, my friend.
Well, come to my side.
I'm laughing makes me also a bully.
Yes.
Then it's bullying. It's bullying.
You didn't know that laughing along with a bully makes you the bully?
Well, it's,
There's even fucking commercials on that one.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they don't.
That's not like abetting the bullying. It's just kind of observing it.
No, if you're laughing along instead of sticking up.
What they tell kids to stick up for kids.
Right.
That's what they say. Like, you see someone being bullied, you say no.
If I was there, I would have stuck up for Vito.
No, you wouldn't have. Don't lie.
You're there now. And you could have been
Here
saying,
we are.
Chris, this is not
This
right.
is wrong.
Hey, Gail, stop laughing.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hey, Vito, don't feel bad about yourself. You were sleeping and your face fell into your neck. And then your fucking hairpiece fell off.
I have hair.
I swear to God, you look like fucking Rug Daniel sitting there. If anybody is familiar with the movie Miller's Crossing, and that little kid steals Rug's fucking piece off the top of his head. You're fucking Rug Daniel, dude.
He told me I could nap, and then he just took me at my weak point and fucking took a video, and then he's bragging about it to everybody.
Yeah, that's what I did.
All right, people writing in, why didn't you teabag, Chris?
Shit.
No gorilla mask? You're slacking.
I'm slacking. Come on. I got this fucking great footage.
Fortunately, I don't think I know what the term gorilla mask means, and I hope I never find out. Look how that looks like fucking Rug Daniel.
It really does.
He looks like he's dead, dude. We're at a wake.
I'll tell you something else, Chris. You look fucking beat up. That thing is so close.
Look at
to
his
your
face.
swollen
Look at his weird smile. Like, just let's take a minute and old school this shit and get it back on Chris Stanley.
I just leave it right there. He looks like fucking Hands of Stone. That's a guy who's been punched a lot, and his eyes are kind of staying fucking closed.
Actually, you do. Someone needs to cut you.
That's fucking Roberto Duran. Look at the thick nose, the eyelids. That's a guy who's boxed like 50 fucking times.
Oh my God.
Oh shit. Oh god damn.
You know how hard it is to fall asleep in a chair like that?
Yeah, I know. That's why I fucking videotaped
How are
it.
you able to? I've been in those chairs. How are you able to get it so like horizontal?
My weight really helps.
Oh yeah.
I could not do that.
And I had my feet up on another chair. It was actually a pretty good setup. I'm not going to lie to
Oh
you.
my God.
Yeah, you look comfortable.
Yeah, and then I wake up and I just found out a few days later that somebody's just fucking taking advantage of me.
All right,
Ew.
you didn't get taken
I
advantage of.
should have groped him.
Just lifted his shirt up.
That's got to be illegal.
No, not in an
Assault?
office.
I feel like someone should say, I hate to inform you that your baked potato has passed away. The black T-shirt is the only thing that gives you any form.
Like if he was just like in a tan T-shirt.
Yeah, he would just disappear into that.
It's just.
So you're really, you don't like looking at yourself that way, Vito, or you do?
No, this is a wake up.
It's wake up. Dude, the beginning of January, you told us was your wake up.
I've been trying. I guess I
looks
just need
great.
to try harder.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he looks great.
Oh. Chris sleeps too.
When? If
I don't see any video evidence of that.
Thank you, Ron. If I was sleeping all the time, there'd be video all over the place. People are always looking to fucking catch me doing something fucking wrong.
That's true.
It's always great to see Chris on top. It's so rare.
I know, like he's wearing his Cubs hat. He's a fucking champion.
Wow,
this
a lot
week.
has changed.
Yeah.
A lot has changed.
Hey, when
for
is
you.
the parade? Is the parade today?
Yes, today.
What time?
I'll look.
I'm going to try to get there.
I'd love to be there with the Northsiders.
Did you see the Onion headline is up on the bank today? It's the funniest thing ever. It fucking slayed me.
Onion's just the best.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for years. Like
For a long time. I remember when I used to sit at the coffee shop and read the paper and crack up.
The headline is millions of drunk Cubs fans rioting in heaven following World Series win.
Hey, it's going on right now. Apatow tweeted a picture from his. Just hit that one. That you had to put the parade. So it's going by in Chicago right now. Oh, any human beings line up for it? Or you just drive down the fucking street there.
It's just a traffic jam.
Nice fucking weather they're having too, right?
Yeah.
Some years it's brutal by this time of the year.
There they are. There's some people on the side of the road.
On one side.
On the highway, though. It's fucked
What
up.
are they doing?
is- like,
They got to
what
be
kind of
just
parade
taking
is
it
this?
into town. This thing is ridiculous. This is
This
isn't
can't be
fucking
it.
parade. This is traffic.
What are they doing in Chicago? What's going on?
Go to Apatow's Twitter. I want to see out of his hotel room. You got something a little early on. I think before they got to the actual parade route.
It's just people driving to the parade.
Yeah. I guess it's not up. I don't know what the fuck goes on. Anyway, the fucking important thing is Cubs win, Cubs win, Cubs win.
Thank God.
Hey, how many live reads did we do yet?
We've done one so far.
We're supposed to do 3 today?
You have to do 3, yes.
Okay. Don't get Rain Man on me, dude.
Right, he was on his Instagram. This is him posting pictures.
He's right there.
Yeah.
That looks more like a parade.
He's not a Chicago guy, though. He's Long Island. He should be a Mets guy.
Maybe he's just there.
Yeah, I know.
Observing.
I don't like bandwagon jumpers.
Hmm. Really?
You're
No.
What?
I'm a budding videographer.
dude, you ought to work it out with Vito's mom that you can go in his room and take video at night.
Leslie, let me get a key. I'm not going to hurt him. Physically. Maybe emotionally.
Nellie says, I can't imagine telling my coworker I'm going to take a 20-minute nap. It is kind of strange how lax we are here, where sleeping is something that you have to point out to the people around you. Look, I'm going to take a nap here. I thought I'd steal a little money from the company. Oh, and I'm also going to load this printer in the back of my car.
I mean, no one needs to print anymore.
You don't mind, right? I mean, it's basically free.
I can sell it on Craigslist. Make a little do-re-mi for myself.
You don't pay me enough.
Wait, pull up the picture pull up the image that's still with you in it again. Because Queen Elizabeth wrote, whose fucking cancer wig is Pepper wearing in that video?
This is my This is my hair.
I think Vito looks more like the cancer wig. I mean, that does not look like his hair.
I don't know what's going on. It seems like maybe you could have donated some of that wild hair.
It was a crazy time in the office, you know?
You
Oh
should
my
try
God.
to get it to TR because he seems to know how World Star works.
All right.
And I would love just to have every black person in America commenting on this.
Oh my
that's it. I'm
God.
on it. I'm
Man,
on it.
I'll-
To read that comment section.
Fucking reading World Star is funnier than most fucking radio shows. Where I'm
Then
just
you're like-
sitting there reading funny fucking rip after rip.
Like, how are those people not comics?
I know. I just want to write, you're all Patrice O'Neill. I don't know why Patrice O'Neill ever got to be Patrice O'Neill when you all are. Steve, New Hampshire. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe Vito, to fall asleep in that chair, he just started counting taquitos going over the conveyor belt at 7-Eleven.
Wait, this many coming in?
Yeah.
Oh. I missed the whole fucking bit that you had to say. We got a bunch of guests coming in. Do we need a break, Chris?
Yeah, we should break.
All right, let's break. Bennington.
Welcome back to Bennington. Brendan Ayer, Anthony DeVito, and Jono Zalay are in studio. They're all performing at New York's Funniest, which is happening tomorrow, Saturday, November 5th at 4 p.m. at Caroline's Comedy Club in New York City. Go to carolines.com for tickets.
Chris, I like the big smack of the lips and the suck of the spit before you went into it. That's radio. That's Radio 101. Welcome, boys. You're
hey.
A little hungover, dude?
Yeah, I'm a little, but I'm okay, you know?
The Comedy Central, they fed and gave you alcohol?
Yeah, they plumbed me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was you could always tell the younger the comedian, the more they're going to try to break the bank. And there was, I'm not going to say who it was, a young comedian, and he said to me, "Where are the sliders?" And then he stood in front of them and just kept eating. And I mean, he was housing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what time were you there till?
Like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kept it going.
Yeah, well, you know, because you get there, I got there and it was fine, and then just all your friends are there.
Yeah.
And then it's just free drinks. So you're like, well, this is the best situation possible.
Yeah.
And then
all your friends were there?
Well, Brendan, Jesus, I got to hear about this now.
Well,
Brendan wasn't there.
I would have loved an invite
Why
to the
didn't
party.
you get to go?
His friends only.
No invite, and that's on Anthony. Really,
Yeah, this is all my fault that you weren't invited to the Comedy Central party.
We also we voted Brendan out of the party.
I was with some people whose invites were actually pulled last night.
Pulled?
Some of the club people that got a last second thing that said, "Hey, you're not invited tonight."
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would have loved, Ron, to get to the level of having an invite pulled. That would have been a delight to even get that far along in the process.
Just to be nominated.
You didn't get invited because there was a lot of young comics. Matter of fact, one person said, "I did one open mic in my life and I got an invite."
Oh, man.
They told everyone.
Yeah,
They were going from person to person.
It was deep in Queens.
I didn't even think it was a stand-up mic.
No.
It was music.
Oh, yeah.
boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
boy.
kid came out and played a song.
Oh, the song guy, he's good.
Yeah,
he is
Yeah,
good.
he belongs there.
And he got a
deserves to be
+1.
Yeah. He got a +1, sure. But you're worse for wear for it, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. But you know what? You're professional enough to come in here today.
Of course, yeah, Ron, anything for you. The show that made me.
Oh, my gosh. Isn't that true? It's
That
really
is
true.
really sweet.
I think we made everybody. That's what I like to say. But you know, a lot of drunk people came over and said, "You know, the first person, whoever." And I'm like,
I'm
thank
sure.
you. Thank
but that's
you.
nice to hear, right?
It is nice
yeah,
to
that's
hear.
gotta be real nice.
You know?
To hear.
I mean, in lieu of having my own career, it's nice to hear they got other people started. Brian Regan had his arms around me. It was just like, "Thank you." But would any big stars come in after I leave? Any big comedy stars?
Nah.
Exactly.
I'm right here.
Yeah, I didn't see Jono.
What happened to the
think so.
wingman? I'm sure you got to get away with it all the time.
Oh yeah, no, I've only had it a week, but yes, I've gotten probably 20 million questions about it. I have a giant brace on holding my arm, looks like a jetpack. I broke my shoulder, separated my shoulder, and had to have surgery on it. So it doesn't hurt a lot. It just has this incredibly cumbersome brace, and I've
never even seen a brace like that. So they don't trust you not to move your shoulder.
Why would they?
Right.
That's how I broke it, was using it. So clearly I've lost shoulder privileges.
Yeah.
And they're right to take that away from me.
I had a show with Jono last week, and he's got a wonderful 5 minutes about jetpacks, right? About how he looks like. I said, "Jono, there's no way you didn't first think about those jokes and then decide to get the surgery."
I had a very conveniently timed set.
Yeah.
My tight 5 about jetpack looking braces.
Anthony DeVito, Brendan Ayer, and Jono Zalay are in studio with us. They're going to be at Caroline's November 5th for New York's Funniest.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Another really great one lined up. I'm always amazed at the amount of comedic talent that comes out that day. Really, really great people.
Yeah.
And what I've seen so far is that it doesn't seem like this year has the diversity. Like, it seemed like one year I went, it was like a very big diversity vote.
I didn't know. Jono was a black woman. I don't know.
I've got the handicapped vote. Wrapping up the sympathy cripples.
You
here.
better get your Coda in fucking 5 minutes while you still have that. You know what I mean?
The window is closing.
It's going to suck if you say once I was in this thing.
Yeah. They're going to take this away and strap back on my privilege. And
I think it looks great. I think you look like a returning vet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I look like an injured drone pilot.
Yeah. How did you injure it? Was it a jerking accident or what what happened?
Well, that probably contributed. It wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back. I was playing touch football with elite athletes known as other comedians.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I landed on it, and then... Yeah, I did score a touchdown, though. That is important. That's part of the whole process.
Oh, so you got past the tree.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, you're joking. We have two trees are the end zones, and one is just in the way. Yeah. You got to run into a tree to score.
The tree has several scars of people running into it.
Was I at that game? Was this years ago where you heard it?
2 years ago.
Oh, I was there.
You probably were. It was my retirement game.
Yeah.
I think you may have been there.
I think I was, too.
Didn't Dan Perlman used to put these on Periscope? Someday,
he did.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. They were in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah. McCarran Park.
We play at McCarran Park,
home of the most uneven playing field. Players to trip and injure themselves for years.
I have to get there early to remove rocks from the field and ask the children playing soccer to leave, and we get in there and
might as well have bear traps on that field.
I will say two-hand touch, I think, is more masculine than flag football. Just the idea of flags. You can't do it.
Oh, yeah.
Why bring apparatus into the situation? You know what I mean? Who's doing?
Totally.
We're not good enough to purchase things to use.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I know.
I also saw a clip of you from that, what was this, the night or like Halloween that you guys go up and do other people's stuff?
Stick or treat.
Yeah, stick or treat. And who were you doing?
I was doing Emo Phillips.
And I don't know if even everyone remembers Emo, but he was fucking the edgiest, weirdest dude of the 1980s.
Oh, yeah.
He's still going. He's great, still.
I didn't know that he's still out there doing shit.
Yeah. I saw him at a festival a couple of years ago do like a full headlining set at a theater. It was unbelievable.
Was that the Limestone one?
Yeah.
I was there too.
Oh,
That's where I saw him as well.
Yeah.
He was great. Amazing.
I had him on my show. This is a million years ago, probably the early 90s. And Tony Dorsett was in promoting something, and he was leaving, and he's the football players in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he was leaving, and Emo was coming in, and he says to his friend, "That's the ugliest chick I ever saw in my life." And Emo Phillips went against this Hall of Famer. "What did you just say to me?" He fucking started to come down strong. And Tony Dorsett was like, "Hey man, no disrespect at all." And he was back there, "No, you said." And I was like, this is the greatest fucking moment of my life. And then Emo he was on the air and he was hilarious, and then we had food and he just put it into a bag and took it home with him. I'll eat this later tonight. That asshole that was in here earlier. So what got you to do the Emo?
Oh, well, seeing him live, I was just reminded of how like great his jokes are. And he's such a weirdo, and I have very few like impression skills. Like I can't do anyone, but like the more I can dress up as a weirdo, and do a weird voice because he had such that like distinctive cadence. Like if I even do a little bit something that I kind of pull it off, but if I try to do something subtle, it would just not go over.
Right. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I have to do the most like outlandish impressions, otherwise it will just not work at all.
But I saw clips from this. It goes back to say, like, I'm always fucking amazed at the level of talent.
Yeah.
Like people that don't do impressions,
right?
Do full tilt sets of someone else. I'm always like blown away.
Yeah.
And that thing Saturday night where people come out and sing the comedy
jam, goddamn comedy jam.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Stand-ups go out and rock the fucking room, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming sometimes when, like, I'll just see a new guy that I've never heard of before, never seen anywhere, and then see him go up and be like, oh shit, this guy's good too?
Right.
Like, how many guys are going to be good? The pool of talent is amazing in New York.
Yeah.
Why has that happened though? Is that been like that for long? Because I know now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ever since I've been here, it just seems like everyone knows this is the place you move to become a great stand-up.
Yeah.
So it's just everyone moving from all across the country to come here specifically for this one thing. So they're already so well-versed in comedy, even if they've never done it before.
Right.
Like, you'll go to an open mic, and there's some 19-year-old in the crowd who's like, he knows every bit of every great comic inside and out, you know? So whatever you do on stage, he's like, that's not original. And meanwhile, he's not good, but he, you know what I mean?
Right. He's like,
but they know, you
like
know?
a statistician.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like you, Anthony. You've always been like, you know everyone's bit inside out. Like, when I started, I just never, like, I knew like one Martin Lawrence bit and some amazing Jonathan jokes. Like,
I love that you put those two together as your act. It's like, I just talk about eating pussy, and then I do a bunch of card tricks.
By snorting coke.
Yeah. But keep going, Brandon. Sorry.
No, that's it. It's just weird how there's those two different facets. I was always funny, but I just never, like, stand up. I didn't see stand up that often. So I didn't even know anything to compare it to. I was just like, I'll fucking say some stuff and see if they laugh. And then there's like guys like you where you know I can ask you about any joke anytime. You listen to every album.
Yeah. Well, I had nothing to do as a kid. I didn't have any brothers or sisters, so I was just sitting there.
You're an only child?
Uh-huh.
That's the most pathetic of all children, I think. Chris, you're an only child, right?
I'm an only child, yeah.
Yeah. And now his parents are dead. And Chris doesn't, and I've never met another human being.
I know.
Who doesn't have a single living relative.
Not one.
Not a single living
Get to work,
relative.
man.
The Stanleys, they aren't very hardy.
You're saying Stanley's, but there's only one.
Stanley name. Now, if you need a liver, you're just fucked. There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing. I don't have to be on some list.
Yeah, and judging by your family history, you're going to need a liver.
Come on, what's that?
Because you're a fucking lush and you're a gambling addict, you owe people money and you're a pillhead. and you're, I'm just, it's tough love. Look.
No, Ron, come on, please. You're saying all the things I'd be saying right now.
You know what? Somebody in the program has to step up and fucking give us tough love.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it.
Look, this is what a prick he is, though. Look at poor Vito over there, who looks like him, who could be his brother. And you do, in your own way, love Chris, right? And admire him.
Chris is like an older brother.
This is a video that Chris just put up online. Turn it around so people can say when Vito fell asleep.
Daddy's sleeping.
Oh man.
No, Vito, are you hurt or angry about that?
I'm both. I mean, like, now we have 3 more people laughing at me about it. Now we have fucking sleep apnea, it looks like.
Yeah, obviously.
But on the bright side, congratulations for getting the voice acting role of Darth Vader. It's going to be a big payday.
Chris, you have no father. You have the same DNA as no living thing.
I'm unique, man.
Yeah.
I'm one of a kind.
Did you call him Fatty at the beginning of that?
Yeah, Fatty sleeping.
Interesting, because I'm not here to judge anyone's weight or say who's fat or who's not fat. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Is I'm not a scale. You know what I mean? But
I'm just making observations. That's all.
It's like when black people attack each other over their color. It's just like, there's no way to say. That's the F word right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're alone. You should embrace him like a brother. He doesn't have any family.
No.
And then Vito has never had a sibling, and he's always wanted a sibling.
Oh, he's an only child,
you could
too.
be brother.
I don't want a brother. I like being the last one alive.
It's weird.
Oh, God.
That's weird.
You know, there's actually a term for that in a species. It's called an endling. When it's like before the species goes extinct and there's one left. It's called an endling. You are the endling.
I like that. I have
of
a
the
name
Stanley.
for it.
Scientists are going to store all of your jizz for future generations to study. It's like, what went wrong genetically with this tree of...
Or maybe we find one more and the scientists help you fuck like they do with pandas.
Yeah, I like that idea.
There's a guy whose job is only to just squeeze a panda's balls. There you go. Milk it out. Milk it.
Come on, you like it, right?
Anthony DeVito, Brendan Eyre, and Jono Zalay are in studio with us. They're a part of the New York's Funniest. It's happening tomorrow, Saturday, November 5th at 4 p.m. at Caroline's. Go to carolines.com for tickets, and you can see Anthony and Brendan do a live recording of the Rad Dude Cast at the New York Comedy Club this Sunday, November 6th at 7 p.m. And Jono will be part of the Doomsday Eve comedy show at Old Man Hustle on Monday, November 7th at 9 p.m. in New York City.
Now this thing 4 o'clock, but it's going to be packed out, and the industry people there. And I'm telling you, to me, out of everything this scene, there's all kinds of great headlining shows. This is the funnest fucking show.
Yeah,
because it's quick, and there's just one just unbelievable comic after another.
Yeah.
Plus Anthony and Brendan.
Yeah, that's the start to head games. That's smart.
Yeah.
You just hit that floor doing the jetpack.
That's smart. I'll fly on the stage like, is there a comedy show going on? I was just hovering above everyone like a god.
Yeah, come at us, Jono. That's smart, because there's really nothing to attack you about. You fucking fraud.
Don't expose me like this. They can't see that I'm actually injured. They can't see the scars.
Jono, this happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Swearing this now.
Just so happens when the tight jetpack jokes come out.
Unbelievable timing.
The coordination with my manager, my age, all the stuff is like, we're going to need to have him have surgery the week before.
And also a Kickstarter for him right now. So it's all coming together.
I'm going to tank for Anthony. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up before Jono and just do 10 minutes of horrible jetpack jokes. And good luck. Good luck.
I'm coming in a full body cast, doing a bunch of mummy material.
Thankfully, I control drones, and I will strike you down.
I love the idea that the radio listeners just being like, what are they talking about?
No, they love it.
Jono's brace looks like a jetpack.
Yeah.
That's it. If you can't picture that in your mind, then fuck you. You've got to meet us halfway. All right? Orson Welles fucking petrified a goddamn nation by saying there's Martians. And you assholes can't think of a jetpack in your mind? You know what's weird? There was a guy in a jetpack at the first Super Bowl. So this is like 51 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And it's the same jetpack that, you know.
It hasn't really made any headway, huh?
No.
It's a jetpack game.
I think this might be the original one, actually. It looks kind of
It does
like
look
it.
exactly like it. And that guy came around, I think he flew around at halftime or before the game or something. And the video is still...
How have I never seen this before?
See if you see the video, just put Super Bowl, YouTube Super Bowl jetpack should do it.
Man, the halftime shows really declined.
Yeah. Well, and then Al Hurt came out with a fucking trumpet for 30 minutes, and people sat quietly. Is this it? Now, what year is this?
It doesn't say. It's not giving a video, but I'll look that up after the video.
Okay, because NFL Films is the ones that shot this.
Oh, wow.
He's an American flag. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, always, and he's got the Evel Knievel look. But you see that jetpack...
Whoa.
And there he is. He's jetpacking around. And this is 50 fucking years ago. I mean, this guy's long dead.
What?
Isn't it great?
That's cool.
This is insane. Could you imagine watching it at the time, just be like, man, in 5 years, jetpack technology.
I know.
It's really good.
What used to say?
30 years away from computers.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, here's what, and listen, I'm not, listen, you know I'm not a jetpack expert, but here's where I think the problem is. You get your legs burned. You know what I mean? You got a jet going right into your legs.
Well, it's exhaust, but like they could, fireproof pants.
Yeah,
pants is the next technology.
Oh, yeah, they make fireproof pants. Yeah,
I don't want a transportation where I got to wear fireproof pants though.
I wear them around the city
Every
just
time
in
you use case. it, you have to bring a change of pants.
Yeah,
that's not so
no
good.
good.
And socks. Let's not forget.
That's how I feel about bikes. People that bike in the city, same thing. You're getting sweaty. You got to bring a change. Same jetpacks and bikes, two things that aren't catching on.
Well, the other things about bikes is they're fucking still stumped by cab doors after all this time.
Sure.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
They don't. No one should be riding a bike in the fucking city, let alone bike lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you guys don't even deserve bikes or jetpacks if you're not willing to put in the work. I'll go around sweaty, flying over the city, and you guys will be all just haters down below.
All right, dude, Super Dave tried this bit, and it really is, it's a tough sell.
And he's good.
But he's on. Then he got But now he was on Curb for so many seasons. Hey, listen, I got to fall back and being the wacky neighbor.
Have you seen these guys that are just riding wheels? Like it's the new Segway. It's just a wheel, one wheel, and you put your feet on both sides of it. It's crazy.
Not even a unicycle? Like there's no seat?
No, there's no seat. They just stand on them and they go around the city. It's like a Segway technology, but it's just one wheel. It's bizarre.
So not. Oh, whoa!
There it is.
Yeah,
God.
I've seen them all over the city.
So
They're crazy.
goofy.
Yeah, and they're fast.
Wow. How fast?
100, 150. Yeah, 150 miles.
Fucking scary fast. I saw one run over a baby. Oh my god, it's too fast.
I like anytime you just want to say something's a lot, and you're just 100. I get it. Probably 100.
For sure, 100 at least.
That's 3. 100 is 3. You guys got to get Anthony drunk the night before because he's, the night before that contest. Take him out late.
Yeah, take me out of the town.
Was it just alcohol or Jed?
No, it was a lot of booze. It was just so exciting to see all these people in the same room who I love, and then the booze was free, and it was like, well, why not?
Yeah.
And it just, it just got too much.
They have things like fucking Comedy Central wants to see which comedians overindulge in alcohol.
Well,
before they invest that
boy, did they see.
It's like someone's walking around taking notes.
We walked right into that one.
Well, it's the third time he tried to kiss me on the lips.
Hey, why are you crossing my name off?
These are the same kind of experiments they did when they were looking for the NASA astronauts in the 1960s. They would just put them in all these psychological tests. And the doors are locked.
Takes out a gun immediately.
One time, me and Anthony were down by this park by the East River. Anthony had eaten. Can I say this?
Yeah,
he had eaten a weed brownie. Right? Anthony's too high. I see a capsized boat in the East River. And I called. No one was doing anything. It was just a boat floating out towards the middle. A big boat capsized. So I call the cops. They connect me to the Coast Guard. I talked to the Coast Guard, tell them about this capsized boat so they can come pick it up. Right? But Anthony doesn't know what's going on. He goes, "Who are you talking to?" I go, "I called the Coast Guard on you, man." And he goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, dude, you're too high. They're sending a boat." I go, "They're sending a boat for you." All of a sudden, the boat comes out to get the capsized boat. I go, "Anthony, there's the boat." Anthony just starts running up the street.
Higher ground, away from the sea.
I thought he had turned on me last minute. I thought he had been my friend for years, and then finally did this. I couldn't believe it.
You honestly thought that you were so high the Coast Guard was going to...
What's the logic of that?
Yeah.
I lost it. We went to go see Planet of the Apes. I got too high in the movie. I had to hold Brendan's hand.
Oh.
At one point, Brendan, who is sober now, but was a drug man for years. Can I say that?
Sure, but I'm
drug man. That's what we refer to ourselves as, drug man.
Drug man.
I'm a drug man. Is there any dealers around here?
I've heard he was a drug man.
So you guys are familiar with
Long
the terms.
line of the drug men.
Brendan's an old drug man, but he's, sober now for years. So at one point, I was like, he was trying to help me out, and he goes, "It's okay. You're just a man on drugs." And I went, "What's a man on drugs?" And it was over.
It is the funniest thing when your friend goes sideways and you try to give him a little bit of fucking advice. Like, hey, you're acting like someone who's high. It's fine. What you are doing is the reason why you took the drug in the first place.
You just tell me all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I just turned on you because then I was like, well, I'm bored. I'm going to say I called the Coast Guard.
The Coast Guard thing is fucking brilliant. Because normally the Coast Guard comes in when there's an enormous amount of drugs.
Yeah.
Not just one fucking
You have a shipment level.
Just one high guy on shore.
Yeah.
And the Coast Guard sends out a boat.
My defense, I just didn't think they were doing a lot. So I thought they would come out for something like that.
They get the assists.
Oh, that's a good point, though, Ron. That's a good point.
Anthony DeVito, Brendan Eyre, and John Ozale are in studio with us. You can check them out at New York's Funniest. It's happening tomorrow, Saturday, November 5th at 4 p.m. at Caroline's in New York City. Go to carolines.com for tickets.
Brendan, when you were a drug man, what was your drug of choice?
I was really a drink guy. That was alcohol was probably my biggest problem. But, I was a daily pot smoker, and then whatever else would come around. I'd do anything, but it's been years, coming up on 11 years sober. I got sober young.
Wow. That's good, man.
Yeah. But I was one of those guys that just, whatever anyone had, I'd say, yeah, that's great. Sure.
I went over the same thing once in my head to try to think, did I ever once turn anything down?
Right.
I couldn't come up with a fucking single time.
No, not even if they just dropped it on the ground. Like, that one.
No, or like you're in school and someone says, "Do you want to eat this?" I'd say, "Yes, I do. I want to eat this asset with you."
Right.
Mm-hmm. Why we sit here in school and make this a really bad situation? And I'm like, I still don't know why. Like, I don't know why it's a motivating factor for me. I just wanted to feel different. A lot of these drugs aren't better drugs.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing angel dust or something, it doesn't feel better than being fucking sober. It's a worse feeling.
It's just a different feeling.
It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
That's the fucking weirdest thing.
Well, I kind of get it because it's like, I can stay in this world, but I could see this world in a different way for whatever the day is.
Yeah.
I wonder if I thought this will make me have less responsibility for everything that I'm doing.
Right.
Like I could say, I did those awful things because I was fucked up.
Right.
Maybe that was it.
Right.
I don't know though.
I just I like not worrying about like everyday life. So if I was worried about perhaps my heart exploding, that was better to me than worrying about why I'm guilty and sad all the time. It's like, the drugs are better, even if it's a bad time. I'm worried about that now. I'm worried about the fact that my arm looks like a snake.
Yes. Yes.
Anxiety.
Yeah, like when you almost have to shit yourself. That becomes, it's like, I don't care about anything else. I'm worried about, I don't want to shit in the street.
Right.
Totally. I totally understand. John,
I smoked weed for the first time when I was 30, and the first time I did it was for a show, and I went on and the set went fine. I just got real high right before, and then the second I got off stage, I was like, why was everyone laughing? Were they, come on, and then I just sat in the corner for the rest of the night. I was like, I can never smoke weed again because now I'm paranoid that I'm just a laughing
stock. So you
were
one and done. You were one and done.
Yeah, basically. I couldn't handle weed, and drink's great, but what I don't like about weed is that it's not alcohol.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. It's not as fun.
It's a completely different...
It's a different experience.
Yeah. And now, Chris, weren't you telling me that Colorado is making more on taxes from weed than alcohol?
Exactly, yeah. They made more money in taxes off of what they got off of the weed sales.
Nice.
Because I think what has changed about fucking weed is like when I was younger, my friends and I would get together to fucking get high.
Right.
But now people do it as a solo all the time. Like people come in here and they're like to do a couple of vapes before they come in.
Right.
Like you just want this as your experience, not everybody's.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Especially too with the edibles because they're so strong that it becomes it can't be a social experience because they're too strong.
You're just too useless in society.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it like that, but because you know when I was smoking a lot like that, it was a little bit rare to be doing what I was doing, which was to just be high all day, every day.
Right.
You know, and now it's not at all.
Yeah.
It's not rare. It's very normal. Like,
yes.
I have so many friends that are just full on high all the time.
Totally.
You know?
I also used to think drugs, you know, growing up, grew up in the 90s, there was the DARE program, all that shit. So I was like, only like rock bands do drugs. You know, like I didn't realize that it's like, oh no, just like 35-year-old dads do it too. Like I thought it was just
violence gangs.
Yeah.
Gail, you were involved in DARE as well, right? You would bring the DARE stuff home.
Yeah, we had DARE, but we just Deputy Norcom was our DARE teacher, and we just tortured her. I mean, we just asked her the most ridiculous, stupid question. I don't think anything could have made me want to do drugs more.
Oh no, yeah, it does really pique your interest.
They describe everything you'll feel when you take it, and then you're like, this dork doesn't like it, then it's probably good. I think it was really bad. I think it was incredibly bad. And then you literally got to learn what every drug was. It was like drug class.
Yeah, sex ed, but for drugs.
Sex was probably way more confusing to us than drugs were because of DARE. Like sex ed was still pretty cryptic. It's a private thing. Experience.
They take you to a dark room and
it was so weird. And now as an adult woman, the shit they left out about menstruation, was just insane. Like, it's a period, you're gonna use something and you don't tell anybody that you have it because that isn't ladylike. Like, they said, don't talk about having your period. It's not a ladylike thing to say. That's bizarre. I can't imagine that.
That sounds pretty thorough to me. What is
I'm saying things
right now, guys.
The other thing about DARE is like, they didn't give kids the credit of like that we were smart enough to differentiate between drugs. Like it was all like it's all terrible. There was never an instance of like you know, weed is probably not good, but maybe do that before you do heroin. It was just like it's all terrible.
That was a problem. In fact, the idea of like the gateway drug. There was an actual conversation with one smart ass kid in my class was like, okay, what if somebody tells you, because for some reason they told you like people were gonna make you do drugs. Yeah. Which is just like not true.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like never.
Sometimes you have to beg the older kids.
It's just never like it. Like you had to pay for drugs.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really make
often
that clear at all.
They sort of insist that you do.
Yeah,
often.
like they were acting like my idea as a child of what a drug dealer was is someone who came up to you and forced drugs on you.
You were trick-or-treating as like, oh, and also here's a pot brownie.
Yeah. So like this kid had asked the question, but like what if somebody says like they're gonna make you, and she's like, well, you say no, and he was like, okay, but what if they pull a gun on you? And this woman, Deputy Norcom, said, you take your chance. Do not smoke it. She said run.
Oh God.
And first of all, why wasn't her first thing like just what are you saying? Like, why would you say? I mean, like, she was just kind of like, this probably won't happen. And he's like, it's happening in this. And she actually told him, take your chances and run. Because weed is more dangerous than bullets flying at you.
Hands up, don't smoke.
Well, the thing is, kids are stupid, and you gotta tell them stupid
You gotta
stories.
tell them stupid shit.
When I was in elementary school, I remember the DARE program came through and we had an auditorium for that. But we also weirdly had a visitation from Air Bud, the golden retriever.
Oh, really?
Before he was in the movies. And I don't know why they booked that assembly.
Wait,
but
Air Bud is real.
Air Bud is a real dog. And like, that probably kept kids off drugs more than the DARE program.
Yeah.
Because if you see a golden retriever making baskets, why do drugs?
So, wait, what was the pitch for the connection between the two?
No, there wasn't. They were just like, hey, here's Air Bud. And we was like, who the hell is Air Bud? And there's like, then this dog started catching slap shots in his mouth. We're like, yes, Air Bud.
Aside from your whole story, this is crazy to me. You're telling me Air Bud was a celebrity before the movie?
He wasn't even a celebrity. No, this is why I respect Air Bud, because he put in the work. He did the circuit.
Yeah.
So he was a literal road dog.
He was the Ali Wong of his day. Everybody found out at the same time.
When he broke, all the other dogs were so happy for him.
Yeah, right.
Air Bud was just in it for the love of it.
Yeah. The literal
Air Bud was a documentary.
So they saw Air Bud first, and then they decided to make some kind of vehicle for Air Bud.
Yeah.
Which means there are probably other things that didn't work out. You know what I mean? Where they were just like, we're still trying to get a movie about Air Bud, and they were like, we've been through 3 scripts. None of them really capture his voice. We finally got there.
I always heard that Air Bud, it was going to be Jim Belushi. Jim had demanded too much money. That's a crazy story, though, that Air Bud showed up at your school. You guys must have been going nuts.
Yeah, of course. Golden Retriever shooting baskets live. It's like in the movies, you're like, well, that's clearly faked, but like you can't.
My mind is blown.
Yeah.
Air Bud is real.
Years later, they found out Air Bud was just fried on coke the whole time.
That's how he was making them? Does some kind of thing.
He was the Len Bias of his day.
Oh, God. Anthony DeVito and Brendan Eyre and John Ozalea are in studio. Check them out at New York's Funniest. It's happening tomorrow, Saturday, November 5th at 4 p.m. at Caroline's in New York City. Go to carolines.com for tickets.
It's truly a great event. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but the place is going to be packed out with people who love comedy. Who's the guy to beat? Is somebody worried that there's somebody who's the guy to beat out there this year? Or is it wide open?
I haven't even looked at the lineup.
I'll be honest with you. It's one of those situations where just everyone's good. The lineup's great. And I think when I was younger, I used to care more about these contests. With this thing, it's like, I don't know. Who knows who? Everyone's good. Yeah. It'll be nice to get up in front of some industry. You know what I mean? Like, that's the victory, really.
It's already won.
See, that's the thing that we got to set up is just, let's have a fucking showcase show where you don't have to give somebody a blue ribbon. Yeah. And say, look, here's fucking 10 or 12 people that the industry should look at.
I never get why it's not done like that, just because comedy itself, it's best when it's not in a competition. Right. When it's just people out there having a good time doing whatever they do. So to just have it without that, like, that's just go to a great show.
Well, one thing I will say that's changed, that I think since the podcast and since these weird specialty shows, is that stand-ups are starting to care about the whole show. Mm-hmm. Where it used to be, I'm middling, so I'm going to burn the fucking headliner down. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now people are going like, oh, we do these, there's 8 different sections to this show, and people are coming in and out.
Right.
And I think it's better in a lot of ways for the audience when you're not competing or not,
Yeah. I agree.
I disagree. I think comics aren't psychologically tortured enough. We have to add an element.
There is a dark thing to, I think, anybody who gets up. And maybe there's even a dark thing to anybody who's naturally funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That there's something underneath things. So maybe we should be taking care of that. A little more. But you guys bring up about New York comics. Where do you think LA is compared to New York now? Because I see the scenes becoming more and more different. All the time.
Yeah, they're just more different than like better or worse. Like,
right.
It's just I think I would say stand-up's probably a little better in New York, but LA is just a different entertainment scene. Like there's just more actors / comedians out there doing physical stuff.
I'll go ahead and say they're way worse.
way worse.
Yeah, way worse at stand. I mean, what are they going to do? Fine, let's start the beef. They suck, man. Get to
shots
the
fired.
This is how Biggie got killed.
Yeah,
right? It started as creative differences.
They are. I will say they're oftentimes way better equipped to write a script to figure out. So many New York guys, and myself even included, are just like, I'm I'm just not very into anything else. Where to a fault, where I'm like, I want to get up on stage, I want to tell sharp jokes, I want you laughing the whole time. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really know much how to do. Go send me into a commercial audition, I'll fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It is funny though, and I would agree. I think that they see the full thing, the full spectrum of the entertainment industry, and New York comics tend to think of that as like a little bit pussy. You know what I mean? Like they really want to get up and do stand up.
Yeah, people are here specifically to do stand up, whereas people in LA, they're there to be in the industry in some capacity. Right. Yeah, it may be stand up, it may be script, it could be acting, it could be whatever. And also, just New York, it's laid out for stand up to really excel. Just in terms of like, you can hit up. There's so many clubs, there's so many bar shows. You can just take the subway from one spot to the next. We're in LA, you have to drive everywhere. Right. And the spots are spread out and there's not as many. So it's like, I don't know, geographically or however it's built, it's not like ideal for, I think, really succeeding at stand-up.
Because you feel like you got to get up all the time to be good.
To be good, to be comfortable, to be sharp.
And adding on that, I agree. And I think also the New York audiences are less patient and more demanding. Oh, so if you don't get to funny quick, they're over you. Whereas in LA, when I've been out in LA, they're more willing to just sit there and come along for the ride, and that kind of causes a stand-up style that's kind of loopy and takes its time. Whereas in New York, I don't want to lose these people. I got to be laugh. You know,
totally.
Yeah, that is, and it is true. There are some people who just want to now get up and explain their life a little bit. And then you're like, well, this is kind of amusing. Right. This is kind of nice. But there's other people who still do the old school thing of, I'm going to fucking destroy this room. I'm going to go in there and knee them in the balls and drag them around on the fucking floor. You know, I don't want them to ever forget this fucking 10 minutes that they're going to say. It's a really fucking aggressive thing to do. Like, I'm going to go in there and fuck that place up. They're sitting quietly now with their loved ones, and I'm going to go in and fucking disrupt them. Again, one more time, you got to go out and see this show and follow these guys. And when we're talking about the level of stand-up, I mean, you know, it's so funny now because I always thought like Class. I always think of classes of guys that come through this, and the waves are coming faster and faster and faster. You know, like it's really. I think it was just a couple years ago. People were like, oh, you know, that Joe List has something. And like 2 years later, everyone's just like, Joe List is fucking established forever. It's just given. But, you know, it was like a couple of years ago, and he's like, neat, is this a radio station? It happened so fast.
Do you guys hate me?
Anthony DeVito, Brendan Eyre, John Ozale. Go check them out at the New York's Funniest. It's happening tomorrow, Saturday, November 5th at 4 p.m. at Caroline's in New York City. Go to carolines.com for tickets.
Next is Unmasked, and this is a guy based in L.A. now that we're all going to agree is one of the best. Tom Segura.
He's incredible.
His timing, this is he and I sitting down for an Unmasked 1 hour of talking about his lives, and he is such a funny guy. And by the way, his chick is one of the funniest people. And those two together, that's a whole nother scene. Like two separate funny people, and then when they sit down, you're like, oh, they don't even bring any of this into their, you know, own acts. Right. This is totally different. So Tom is like not only one of my favorite comedians, he's also one of my favorite people. He's one of the real good guys. He really is. And you know, when you think of young comedians to look at a guy who set a standard of how to work and how to keep moving your career forward. So that's coming up right now, right?
That's coming up next.
Thank you guys so much for stopping in here today.
Thanks, man.
All right. Next, Unmasked with Tom Segura.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be an asshole as often as I can to
it's
as many
working.
people. Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
But you and I were just talking, walking over, things are really at the right progression working for you. You know, you haven't had that spin your whole life over thing yet, right?
Right. No, yeah. No, things have gotten progressively better over the last few years, and I'm not an addict yet.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah. Well, I think when it happens for some people young, you can understand why they would be an addict.
Dude, I totally understand. I remember when I got, I booked a Subway commercial campaign with Jared, the molester. And,
the molester.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nicest thing you can say about him. I saw the charges.
Right. And so we shot some commercials, and they're like, you're going to be so recognized from these commercials because we're going to shoot 10 to start, and you're going to be like as recognizable as Jared. And I was like, yeah, but like for Subway, you know? But then the money was like, it was really crazy too, but I was 25. And I remember right away being like, first I'll get a Porsche, and then we'll see what's left, you know? And it didn't pan out. Like they fired the marketing the ad agency. So then they killed the ad. And I remember my wife being like I was bummed at first because it was such an opportunity that went away. And she goes, yeah, but you'd just be known as a guy that does Subway commercials. Don't you think it is better that it goes away and maybe something else will pan out for you?
Yeah.
And it did, but it just took, 10 years.
Another 10 years to get to the point where if it was you and Jarrett, you would be riding around together.
Oh, man.
Hey, everybody, you're holding up sandwiches. Ready to go. Am I right? The turkey?
It's fucking, dude. Here's the thing, too, is that the reason that they hired me is because Jared could only plug healthy subs. So they're like, what about the meatball sub? And they're like, this way you get Segura, and they're like, these are good too. And that's why I was hired.
I don't care about healthy.
In the campaign, I was his brother.
His brother?
Yeah. I was his brother, Jerome. And when I told one of the ad reps, I was like, don't you think that's like kind of it kind of sounds like a black dude's name? And they were like, you know what? We talked about it, and you're right. And so your new name is Jermaine. And that wasn't a joke. I was like, that's blacker than shit. Like, that's so black.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's who
Jackson
you are.
5 black.
That's so
how
black.
That's how black you are at that point.
Yeah, man. And that's weird. I have his phone number in my phone.
Yeah.
Jared's.
Yeah.
And when we shot, I remember they were like, hey, Jared, like he has a friend that would tail along, and they were like, he was like, I heard the ad guys talking about that you're gaining weight. And he was like, fuck that shit, man. I'm not gaining weight. And there was like all this behind the scenes, like they always watched his weight. And then he goes, hey, do you want to hang out tonight? This is after we shot the first commercial. And I go, all right. And he goes, cool, let's get a pizza. We had a pizza.
He never sent you an email and said, like, download this.
No.
It's awesome.
No. There's a couple of comics that have sent me questionable stuff,
right.
but nothing quite like that. No.
But isn't that weird? Like when that shit must have went south, you're like, fuck.
Yes.
There's plenty of pictures with me with him.
Dude, what also just came to mind, like, man, like, what if that thing had gone? Like, now I would be like this vaguely known guy from Subway commercials who's pretty close with Jared the molester.
Yeah.
And there definitely would be like hundreds of emails between us by now.
Sure.
Where he would have like inched into it like, 20-year-olds are hot, right? And I'd be like, yeah. And then he'd be like, what about 19? I'd be like, okay. Just keep working his way down.
Yeah.
Like,
so finally, 11, right? I mean, that's...
I'd be like, I don't know. I can see how they'll be pretty one day, I guess.
So, got out of that.
Got out of that, yeah.
Nice. But that is the funny thing, too, about this business. I was just talking to somebody today. They're like, we don't know what it's going to be, because I remember when you told me that your special was going on Netflix. I'm like, oh, is that a good idea? You know what I mean? At the time, I wasn't sure.
I met with their entire department this week, the entire specials and comedy department, and they had me come in and sit like this with the department watching and talking about just, basically to share with some of them who've never met comedians what it's like and the whole idea of putting together a special. And I was telling them that when the first one was shot, it was in specials, there's originals and there's licensed specials. So the first one was shot by New Wave. And then I remember calling my manager, like, what are we going to do with it? Well, we're going to shop it now. So they send it to everybody. They send it to Showtime, Comedy Central, HBO, Netflix, and so on. So the first thing was that Comedy Central was like, hey, we like it, but how are we supposed to market it? Like, what's the theme? And I was like, funny jokes? I don't know. Like, and they're like, but there's no like theme to it. And I was like, are you serious? Right? Like it felt like that was just like the way to say no. Like that was how you can pass on it. And I was like, okay. And then it was like through, the next one, they were like, hey, so Netflix will take it. And then the whole thing was like, I guess that's not that bad. Yeah. That was the perspective then that, well, hey, some people have Netflix, like stuff like that. Yeah. And now it's like the most, like if you're a comedian,
it's everything.
It's the most desirable place. I just talked last night to Joe Rogan, and his special came out like a week ago, and he goes, by far 1,000 times more feedback than I've ever gotten on anything I've ever done. He goes, I cannot believe the response. And it all makes sense. There's 100 million plus people with it now.
Yeah. That's
their platform, and they can watch it whenever they want.
Well, yeah, and when you go to, it's sitting there. It's like literally, like I just had some friends that had some stuff on some of the other platforms. It came out that night. Who knows what happened to it after that? But yours is sitting on the front page.
Right.
It's amazing. And people see it over and over and over. And when I saw Ali Wong's on there,
it's tremendous.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's just watch it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that happened with a lot of people.
It has. Well, it's happened. I mean, it's happened with a lot of people, but it still has to be special for it to really work out. Like Ali's, is really good, and she is now experiencing the benefits of that. Like she's selling out, adding shows, theaters, but it's really good. And then audience found it. Cause I also get hit up by guys who have specials on there. They're like, hey, it went up. So like, when does shit start to pop off? And I'm like, I don't know, man. You just gotta see what happens,
Well, I saw Ali right after she had the baby, then she came east, and I thought that special was so good. I got on a train, went down to DC, did this here, and she's like, she's still walking around with the thing to drain your breasts. What is that called? Like that? Yeah, it's a breast pump. So she's like, I need 5 minutes before we do. So, and she's like, and I'm like, man, the special has you beaten? She goes, this is the first time, but it's sold out. So I think this is good. And I'm like, oh, dude, wait.
It's
wait. Really good.
Yeah, I just did some shows with her in Texas, and I just keep encouraging her to spend money. Cause she's so not used to the checks that she's getting. I'm like, she's going to Hawaii, and she's like, I got an Airbnb. I was like, cancel that shit right now. And I was like, here's the link to the Four Seasons. Stay there.
Because she's not trusting in it yet.
Well, I think it's so fresh. Yeah. It's so new, but like I think she just added like 6 shows at this theater in LA. She'd added 4 or 5 here. Town Hall or something.
Yeah. She's giant coming back to New York.
Tickets, yeah.
I mean, that's really, really a big deal.
It's a huge
Particularly when she was living in here not too long ago and running around Brooklyn doing, whatever these mics were.
It's like you can't predict that to happen. You know what I mean? Like those things, it's like everything aligns. You have the platform, which is what they provide you, Netflix. You have the only thing you truly control as the comic is your material and your performance. She did that. And then it's like the universe, the culture, it just hits, it comes out at the right time. Right. And the right people find it, and it goes like, hey, this is gonna pop off. So. And
when it doesn't, you just get back to work.
That's all you can do. Yeah. That's all you can, it's all you can do. It's like one comic told me, he goes, I haven't really experienced that much, fanfare since this Netflix special came out. And I go, yeah, but, he goes, I saw, a bunch of people like shitting on it and hating on it. And I go, yeah, but those guys, so now those guys will not come to your show. But the cool thing is that there's people that saw it that will. So you gain something. Right. Somebody out there became a fan because of it. And all you can do is just keep doing what you do. There's no other option or quit, so you just got to keep moving forward.
See, that's the thing about you. It's like, I don't ever catch you being ambitious. I never catch you being nervous about your career. Is there a part of you that's thinking on the business side of things, or you just let it happen if it happens?
No, I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
I think about it a lot. And I mean, I think I'm just aware of the things that I control.
Right.
You know? So like I control making sure that we have a podcast that's up and ready to go. And, you know, I talk to the ad agents, and I know that the material that we're going to break down in the like I control that. I control getting up, doing spots, being smart about going back to certain markets with, you know, I always try to be like, well, no, I was in Denver with this stuff, so I'm not going to go back until it's all new. I can, you know, I think about things like that. Think about development stuff with, you know, meeting with writers. But as far as like, I think comics get worked up about things that are out of their control. You know?
Yeah, sure.
So you go like, dude, that's just, you know, you can't control that part. Just let it go.
So you like the business side of the business. But
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not going to sit around and fret why somebody else got something that you didn't do. It just doesn't seem to be in you.
You have to stop looking at that merit based.
Yeah.
That's what comedians do. Why'd you get that? How'd you get that? It's like, dude, you just got it. Like, it's not always because that person didn't sell 1,000 more tickets than you sold because they're 1,000 tickets funnier. You know,
Right.
It's just like, that's just the way things develop. That's just the way it goes. Like, you can't worry about the little details like that. You just worry about doing your work, and things will happen if you just focus on that.
Well, here's something about you that I noticed, and I was back from watching the last couple of specials, and you probably deserve some money back from the theater on this, because you use less stage than any comedian I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, there's a lot more stage there, Tom, that you were paying for.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. You know, I almost feel like I should apologize to my cousin, Brian. So, like, my cousin, the first time he saw the first special, he's like, hey, I saw your special. And, like, with family, honestly, all you want to hear is, like, great job.
Right, that's
like,
it.
That's it. So he goes, you really don't move that much. And I'm like, that's your feedback on this shit? And he goes, I just think, you know, if you were to, like, even do some little things, just, I'm like, fucking dance around or something? And he's like, well, you know, just, like, pick up a bottle of water and kind of, like, he's like, it would be more engaging to the eyes. I'm like, why don't you worry about what you fucking have to do, okay? And then, since that special, like, people message me, and they're like, you're so lazy. You just stand there. And I'm like, wow, this is really something people notice. So on the second special, it's funny, if you were to actually look side by side, I'm a fucking marathon runner in the second one. And that's just because I do this a couple times, and like I take 2 steps this way and back. But I've never been funny enough, when I started doing stand up, I was so obsessed with Chris Rock that I would just mimic him. Yeah. And like, I'm not even aware of it. I was pacing, like, you know how he like paces the stage and crouches, and I have footage of it, and I'm far too ashamed to ever put it up. But like, I think the more that I kind of settled into it, I just don't fucking move, man.
I think that's so great, because no one would think you and Chris Rock, but that's what got you on stage. That's what did it at first.
It's great, you know. And I actually did a show. This is so weird. Like last night, I did a show. I didn't mean to. I had dinner with my agent, and he goes, Chappelle's over at the Gramercy, and some of the Live Nation people are saying, do you want to come by? And we finished dinner. It's pretty late, and I go, it's like 11:45, man. Is it still time to go? He's like, the show just started. I was like, all right. So we go back there. Dave Chappelle, who I've never really met, I mean, I've like stood next to him. I go in his green room, and he's like, do you want to do some time? And my immediate answer was like, no. Like, I just came here to hang out, and I'm full. I just had dinner, you know? And then someone else was like, you don't want to do time? And I was like, not really. And then the other guy's like, are you seriously not doing any time? And I go, I think I should do some time. And they're like, you should do some time. So I was like, okay. So I do like 8 minutes or something, you know? I get off, and then they're like, all right, Dave's going up. I was like, great, I can't wait to see this. Dave goes up, And then 10, actually, before he goes up, he comes in the wings. There's a DJ on stage. He comes up with Chris Rock and they're just like laughing and talking. And I was like, oh shit. And I've never actually met Chris.
Yeah.
I've just seen him a couple times do spots. So now I'm like a stand-up comic me again. Just like googly-eyed watching them, you know? Because Chris was like absolutely my favorite. And Dave goes on for like 15 minutes, and then Chris just walks out, and the place goes bananas. And then they just sit there and riff for like hours.
Yeah.
And I was just mesmerized by it, man.
Was there any point where you thought, hey, I'm on this show too, I'll walk back out too with everybody?
I really thought about it. And I thought about how many, like, the parade of boos that would ensue. They're like, fuck you. Like, yeah.
How did it feel being in front of his crowd as well, though? I mean, is that something that, no matter what the crowd is, can you adapt?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, look, when I walked out, the MC goes, he goes, we have a special treat right now. And the crowd was like, oh shit. and then he announced me, and it was such a mediocre response.
Sure.
And I just walked out and I go, I'm thrilled to disappoint you. And they were like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because you just did. So, yeah.
But that's like the amazing thing about comedy is it's all put into one genre. You know, there's no point that you would go to a Jay-Z show and someone say, hey, Ted Nugent's going to do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not that you're the Ted Nugent, and
I took it the wrong way.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, everyone just expects, hey, funny is funny,
right?
And it'll work anywhere.
Yeah, and it does. I think there are those. You find them when you do a lot of road work, like I do, and you have a variety of material. There are bits and jokes that basically translate everywhere,
right?
And then there's ones that don't, and there's ones that you realize also, like, as you develop and you develop a fan base, sometimes you don't even think about that some of the stuff that you're doing. It's that, like, that audience is already invested in who you are.
Right.
So they know, at least there's context to your point of view that a new audience would be like, where is this coming from?
Particularly when you podcast, because they get to know you on a level that people never knew comedians before.
That's true.
You know, in a way that people, let's say, Dennis Miller's audience never knew him, or Jerry Seinfeld's.
Right.
You know, they know you. They know stories that you never would have taken to the stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, there's bits that start in podcasts that you never assume would go to stage, but they do. You start having conversations like this, and if you start saying something, and then you're like, oh, I guess I'll try that after the fact. So, like, I've listened to stuff on a podcast and be like, I'll try that on stage. Right. And then it becomes a bit. So it goes, like, both ways.
Well, I was telling this to somebody not too long ago, because I've been doing radio a long time. Before podcasting, there weren't a lot of comics that could come on the radio and be funny.
Right.
But after podcasting, it's amazing. Even a lot of the young guys can just walk out and be conversationally funny.
Yeah, the art of having the conversation, basically, right? And it also highlights how bad so much radio is, too, right? I feel like, so many radio people, for someone who does a lot of radio, there's so many radio guys that aren't good at conversation. And you kind of go, like, how are you not good at this? Like, you don't know how to, I guess they're used to, like, a different style.
Well, they're used to 8 minutes. They're used to entertaining the audience the way a 45 record entertains the audience.
Right.
You got 3:45, and then you better move on to the next thing, and be funny that way. Segmented commercials, boom.
Yeah.
So they're not ever in the moment of the conversation.
There's guys, I've gone on the radio where guys like, hey, we're coming back from break. We come back, just take over. All right, here we go. And I'm like, take over?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And they're like, it's your fucking world, right? Just go ahead. And I'm like, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to sit right here.
Yeah.
And you better lead the conversation. Then one guy told me, he's like, oh, I was in here last week. He took all his clothes off, and I was like, how'd that work for the radio audience? Was that funny?
Make what happened last week happen again.
Yeah.
Well, you do local TV. too, and I'm always looking for any of this shit that you do on the road because it's so cringeworthy.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable. Yeah.
When did that start? How did that happen? When you're out doing a local TV news show, and I guess these are like 9 o'clock in the morning, or
yeah, sometimes even earlier, sometimes 8. It started actually, I want to say early this year, where it used to be when you don't sell any tickets, people don't realize like that power dynamic of comedians and the clubs and everything with ticket sales. So when you don't sell any tickets, which is the majority of your career, of my career, they just, whatever they tell you to do, is you just say like yes, and that you understand that like you have to do it, like you haven't sold a lot of tickets. So they do these elaborate press schedules for you where it's like, we're going to pick you up at 6. And you're going to do like 11 radio stations and then 3 TV stations. And you're like, is this going to work at all? Because in some markets do have very effective radio. But like with the morning TV stuff, you're always like, do you think that the most likely lady that's watching Good Morning Toledo is going to see me and be like, I want to go see that guy tonight. You know what I mean? Like, so this year, it's like I would have a gig booked at some club. And I'd get the call, like Wednesday, hey, you're all sold out. All 5 shows, all 6 shows sold out. Great. And then they'd go, hey, do you mind doing press Thursday? And I'm like, why? Like, it's all sold out. And they're like, it would help us. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I'll do it. But since it's so awful to do in TV, it's like, first of all, it's 3 minutes. And they'll do things like, it's always the same, like, what can people expect this weekend? And you're like, fucking jokes, or like, what will audiences see? You're like, they'll see me do stand up, like, and they basically are trying to get you to get into a bit or something, and it's super uncomfortable. So I just decided that, like, I was making jokes with my wife about, like, at first that I was going to become a DJ, and that I was, and she was like, how much are you going to spend on DJ? I was like, 20 grand. I don't know. Like whatever it takes to get started. And then I developed kind of a DJ persona I did buy turntables and she thought it was way more expensive than it was. But anyway, so I just went in character once as DJ Dadmouth and I walked in, and you should see, like, when you do like local news in Des Moines and you walk in, I would walk in with like a fake mink fur and a big dookie rope, gold chain, sunglasses, fake diamond earrings. All the staff, they're like, "Oh, this is exciting! Like, who is this guy?" They think Jay-Z walked in. And then so I would walk in, they were like, "We're so excited to see, like, I don't know who you are, but this is going to be good. I can tell because you dress like a maniac." So, and then I would just go in and they're like, so you're doing shows this weekend? And I would be like, it doesn't even really matter, man. It's all about the after party, And then you look over at the club rep and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's sold out. Who cares? So I would just start like riffing like that. And then I remember I did one in Jacksonville where I announced that I'm non-binary. Like that I don't have a pronoun, like he or her or she, that I'm astral gender, which is like a gender from outer space. And the lady went like, ugh, like she made like a grossed out face. She was like, and she was like, well, that'll be it. Like she wrapped it up. And she was the only lady of all these stops I did that didn't say bye. Like, when you wrap up, you're like, hey, she was like, she made a beeline for the other ways. And she called the club rep later and she was like, that guy was really weird and made me really uncomfortable.
But when you are in a bit that is going to work once it goes viral, but isn't working in that moment, in that room, how do you not just go, honey, I'm just joking a little bit?
It's hard to. I mean, honestly, sometimes, the hardest part is that it's early.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, like, there's ones that I've done that I watched later, I'm like, oh, like, I forgot to commit because I was so tired. Like, I went in there with the idea, and then I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I'm like, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning for me, because I'm flying from the West Coast. Yeah. So I'll just, like, later on be like, I forgot to, like, sell that.
You just put the shit on and sat in there.
I'm DJ Dadmouth. Yeah.
Well, these things are hilarious, though. They're so strange.
They're so strange, yeah.
But that's something that you love, DJs, right? I mean, you grew up loving it. Yeah.
I love hip hop. I love it, man. I met Cypher Sounds last night at the Chappelle show, and I love the music. The whole reason that I bought those, turntables was just like a absolute infatuation with that music and culture, and I just wanted to have something as like a silly hobby.
Right.
I mean, the clothes and everything became something to play with these people, but at home I just do it just to have fun, just to goof off, Well,
you're a kid. When you were growing up, you were moving all over, right?
Everywhere, yeah.
So music is one of the things that it's this, you can hold on to that.
Yeah.
During that,
That's true.
I talk about this sometimes with musicians. People forget when you're young how important music is to you.
Yeah.
And there's certain people, certain albums that you almost owe your life to.
Yeah.
And they never find out.
It's true, man. It's true. And I also remember that, when I was a kid, hip hop was called rap. That was the section in the music store. And it was like as far as my hands. It was like 2 feet. It was like I could name all the artists in it, like now it's a mega genre.
But everybody was always ready for rap to end its thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I had also part of like kind of a feeling of, I'm into this thing that not as many people are into. Because all my friends, depending on the city that I was living in, would be like, that was the time when they were listening to like Def Leppard and Motley Crue. And I was like, what about the Fat Boys and Run DMC?
Yeah.
And that was like my Eric B. and Rakim and EPMD. And those are the tapes that I would buy. Because it was tapes.
Right.
And then just wear them out. Just flip them over, wear them out.
So when you're moving and you go to a school and you find out there's nobody that's kind of into that same groove with you, that's just something that you keep at home to not be the weird kid at school.
Yeah. And I did feel, it did, at the time, it's silly to say now when you think about how big, and there's probably a lot of kids that kind of identify it with the same way. It did feel like I felt like I was weird in some sense for liking that music, like for pulling out like Digital Underground, and then they're listening to, whatever, Metallica or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I felt like it was, I did a talent show in 5th grade where I did a Young MC song.
This was the first real DJ dad mouth that ever happened.
I did it in drag.
Way to fit in the new town.
Yeah.
How'd it get over?
It crushed.
Yeah.
It really killed. I was really selling the I had a skirt and everything. Yeah.
So when that stuff happens too, when you're a kid, when you're like, hey, I can get up in front of people and get that stays in the back of your head too,
definitely.
as well.
Yeah. When you like get like big laughs, something like that. Or even sometimes, like riffing with just your group of friends, but like you really go on a roll, where they're doubled over, like really laughing. I think every comic experienced that at some point where they were like, you feel more unique in that regard.
Sure.
You go like, there's something there.
Well, that's the thing is that what you're talking about is something that teachers or parents will look at and go, what a waste of time, break these kids up, this looks like trouble starting. It's not like if you're playing an instrument where an adult can look over and go, oh, Jesus, this kid's got something.
Right.
But there are funny kids that just hang out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember, and you remember the other kids too. You're like, you go, that kid was really, really funny.
I know.
Yeah.
I went home for a funeral not too long ago, and I saw these dudes that I grew up with. They were like, hey man, you're still doing it. I'm like, somebody should have grabbed us when we were younger. I'm like, I think you guys were funnier than most people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Who make a living doing that.
Yeah.
But, you don't start a band when, there's not like, 3 of us will go on and do things. That's very rare. Just one guy just tends to go off and go, I'm going to try this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I remember encouraging a guy too.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that? Like I encouraged one guy, when I first moved to LA, I was like, you got to do this. You can do this. You're that funny. And he was like, no. Like, I think it was the the lack of security,
sure,
which is a big part of it.
Yes, no sane person would give into that at all.
You realize how crazy it is to do later. You know?
Oh yeah. When you find out that you're 800 miles away from your home base and someone stiffed you on a check or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why does anyone do this?
Or how many times I went so broke. This neighborhood that we lived in, it was so funny. I met with this. I was talking to a cop about this idea, basically, that involves police, and then we were talking about living in L.A., and I go, yeah, I've lived in a bunch of different neighborhoods, and he was like, well, I used to be I was the head of, or a sergeant in the Rampart division, and I go, I lived there, and he goes, what? And I go, I live there, and he goes, where? I go, right between Rampart and Alvarado. He goes, Jesus, that's fucking terrible, man. He goes, why did you live there? I was like, because I'm a comedian, and that was like where we could afford.
Right, it was a smart move at the time.
I was like, I mean, in retrospect, we probably could have gotten an apartment in a much safer neighborhood for the same money. Yeah. But we were also like, okay, we'll just live here. So that's where we lived, man. And there was like, I told him the funny thing was like when I moved from there, we lived in that neighborhood for like a year, Christina and I. And when we moved, I got a call from my car insurance company that our car insurance went down like $2,000. And I was like, why? And they're like, because you moved from the carjacking capital of Los Angeles. Yeah. So now you don't have to pay as high a premium.
I think it's great that it's one thing to put yourself there, but you're like, oh, and Christine will be there too.
Yeah.
We're fine here. Yeah. You guys are so funny together, which I think it's a big part of why people come to you, to your shows and stuff, because from that podcast you could see the way you guys relate to each other. Sometimes it even goes beyond comedy. You know what I mean? It makes people feel good.
Yeah. I feel like in a way it kind of, people have told me it's like a throwback to like the way old television shows used to feel like familial. You'd feel like, you feel comfortable because you know these people on the show and you know their world, and that's what our podcast can be like an escape for. Like they know these two people, they kind of know what the relationship is in their world, and it feels like you're stepping into it for
exactly. It's the way we feel like, these are the friends I should have. I'm living somewhere else. Yeah. I'm with tighter people or more conservative or weirder, but here are these two people that just kind of see the world. Even when you guys disagree, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's the most fun thing that we've always said that we've ever done. Like it's the thing we look forward to doing the most, and we're just lucky. We feel like that there's been an audience that's grown with it now. Yeah, and now it's its own thing. Like it has such a solid fan base, which like we feel so grateful for. But it's just been like this. It's crazy when you have something like that happen when you're just being yourself. Right. Like we're not doing anything over and you know what I mean? Over and above.
If you were writing sketches and shit, it probably,
Oh yeah.
What are these two desperate people after?
Yeah, like another comic told me, he goes, so like when do you write the jokes for it? And I was like, what? And he goes, like, do you write all the jokes that you say? I'm like, no, like we're just talking and then whatever. What do you do? And he's like, we write and then we rewrite so that I mean, that's just one approach to it. But I was like, you're basically just popping in. That's what Christina always says. Like we're just talking about the thing we would have talked about, but there's just mics there. Yeah. So and that's really accurate, all the inside jokes and like slang that comes out of it is stuff that's in our house without the show. Right. And you just put it on the show.
But also with her, and you and I were just talking about this before we walked out, there's something about a funny girl that's so oddly sexy that you don't even know where to put it. Yeah. And, you know what I mean? Like, there's no genre to line up other than funny ladies are unbelievably sexy. And I could make a list of them.
Let's start it. Here we go.
I'm going to go Tracy Ullman right off the bat. And Tracy Ullman came in and did this show one time and just fucking owned me for an hour. Man.
Yeah.
I was just sliding down the fucking.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers would do my show, and she was unbelievably crazy sexy.
Awesome and owns the room is Amy Sedaris when
phenomenal.
And I used to actually just get a kick out of watching her own Letterman.
Yeah.
Because you could tell that he had that same affection for her. Like
he gave it over.
Yeah, he would be like, and he was just smitten with her every time.
When
she
Sandra
was on
Bernhard used to do Letterman in the early days, he never was that good again. He never was as good as trying to keep up with her.
Yeah.
Fran Lebowitz would do a show. Crazy good.
Yeah.
But for some reason, no one ever brings that up. And I think your show really showcases that.
Yeah, she's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like, I feel like, I get to do this thing with like the person I love, and it's just a wonderful thing. But she's also so funny and keeps getting funnier. So like I enjoy her not just as a partner and stuff,
Right.
but I keep laughing more and more at like her wit and her her jokes. She's just funny.
Because that's how you met her, right? It's
yeah,
through-
man.
Yeah.
I met her at the Cat Club.
Yeah. The old rock, it was like a metal rock bar
a
years
guy
ago.
and a rocker owned it.
Yeah.
A guitar player owned it in L.A. and they used to do like these, like 30 people shows. And I went there and she was wearing fishnets, wearing like knee-high boots, smoking. She's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like really like. And she was way too cool to be, you know what I mean? And I was nice. I was a gentleman.
Right.
And then she had a boyfriend, so it wasn't even on the table.
So it started as a three-way.
Yeah.
The first night you guys were together.
And then as soon as I found out they broke up, I swooped in and I took that shit. Yeah.
That's literally passive-aggressive, what he's describing right there.
I grabbed her pussy and I fucking rolled her.
Isn't that odd that that's a punchline and that's a touchstone for all of us now? I wonder if that'll stay years from now. We'll just like, oh, yeah, back at 16, we used to grab the pussy. Remember, guys? Those were different times.
I know. It's like, too, people are saying, like, grab life by the pussy.
Yeah.
And, like it really has become part of the lexicon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, as soon as you guys hooked up, you like knew, okay, this is the one for me, right? It was that quick?
I really, really, really liked Christina. I was like, she had kind of an attitude, which I liked a lot. Like she wasn't like when I used to go out with girls and they were like, okay, whatever you want to do. I was like, but she was like, whatever, and just had a little edge to her.
Yeah,
and I was super attracted to it.
So now you guys are a family.
Yeah.
That's weird, right?
It is weird. Yeah, it's so cool. It's the coolest thing. It's a lot of, it's life-changing, obviously, but it is the coolest thing. Like, we're so just in love with this little boy. It's the coolest thing.
Isn't that the nuttiest thing that happens?
Yeah.
Isn't that nutty as like when you just think of, if I was stuck in a Schindler's List situation, I would pick someone over my wife in a heartbeat, and she would pick somebody over me in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
You don't realize that what happens that quickly.
I mean, like, we talked about, like, if someone was like life raft.
Yeah.
And she goes, if it was you or the baby, choose the baby in a second. And I was like, not only would I choose the baby, I would hold you under the water. Just for the thrill,
And that's like that's literally the most loving thing that you could say, but you don't realize that before. And people go, "Really? You wouldn't pick your wife?" I go, "My wife would have killed me. She would have come back and stabbed me to death."
The crazy thing too is like, it's all the cliches you've ever heard about parenthood, but the thing that like it really stands out is that, with each day, especially in this phase, my son's 10 months old, they get there's a little more development, there's a little more personality, and that makes you more gaga over them, because like they just do one little thing and you're like, God damn it, I love you even more than I did yesterday. It's that, like, it just blows your mind. There's
stuff that reminds you of people that you've known in your family and stuff that you've never seen before. But you were in when the when he was born, you did all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a hell of an experience, right?
The delivery?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty, it was the thing that stood out. First, there was just an annoying nurse. That's what I remember the most. And then there was a shift change during the delivery.
Right.
So like we finally were with this one nurse who's working us through, and I'm holding Christina's leg and she's pushing, and then she's like, well, it's 7, I gotta go. And and then so Christina's spread eagle, and then another lady walks in and Christina's like, just have a look, which they're gonna do anyways. But then she's like, wait, you're leaving? And the lady's like, yeah, I gotta go. And she's like, well, another lady comes in. So that was this funny thing about that delivery. It was they treated it like it was a restaurant shift,
Yeah.
But it was for childbirth.
Right.
Yeah, so
it's just work to some of those nurses.
Yeah, it's just work. Yeah.
That's why a lot of people end up going in a different direction, have the babies at home and stuff like that, because you realize it's more life changing than anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing we're the same on. We're like, no. Doctors,
close to the
hospitals,
hospital. Yeah.
Give us, IVs, all that stuff.
You got an IV too?
I wanted one. I got an epidural. Yeah.
He couldn't move from the hips down. He's just there guys, we're going to get there. But that's, when you're on the road and you're away from the kids too, particularly at this age, you can come back and almost meet a new dude.
Dude, it happens every week.
Yeah.
Every week. His face looks different when I get home, and he actually does do certain things that he didn't do, little things. But they have these sound books, you show kids oh, here's a cow, here's a dog, and you try to get him to push the button, and he just looks at them. And then she FaceTimed me yesterday. Oh, he just pushed the button. So you miss stuff that.
You miss pushing the button.
Miss pushing the button.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the fucking button push.
Sure, I understand. But that's what happens. That's the gift. But also, we were talking about ambition earlier, and you do get oddly more ambitious almost immediately when you're dad. You're just wait, maybe I can do one more.
If you want motivation, have a kid.
Right.
Writing more, pitching ideas. I'm working on a couple projects right now.
That you wouldn't have, but probably. Before.
I don't know if I wouldn't have, but I think you have a different sense of focus. Because you do realize for the first time it's not just you. When it's just you feel like oh man, I was just a selfish, not in an insulting way, but you're I'm the only thing that's on my mind.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have a wife and you go okay, but when you have a kid, you realize that the whole picture changes. So you work in a more, I think, focused way.
Isn't that and that's something that you should probably tell young comedians. Hey, get some real responsibilities. Get a fucking mortgage. See how hard you work at this. See if you feel like writing tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. We talk about it. I talk about it with friends that the older you get and those responsibilities come through, you really realize that you didn't work hard when you think you did.
Right.
You work hard once you have people counting on you.
See, the other thing, too, is because you and Christina, it is somewhat of a family business.
Yeah.
So the kid is not just born into a family, but into a show. This kid is really a show baby,
Yeah.
That's strange.
It is strange.
Yeah.
And we make a big focus into not, some of my friends.
Kreischer.
All right, Bert. He puts, pictures of his children.
Yeah.
But not just him. A lot of guys do this. But then there's other people that, we go, no. I feel like we owe them that. To not be like, oh, here's 100,000 people to look at you that don't know you and to or comment on you. I feel like it's rude. To do.
The baby got a downvote.
Yeah.
The society that we live in right now.
Yeah. I just don't. I couldn't feel comfortable doing that, man.
But you know, when you grow up, like if your dad is a fisherman, you're probably going to fish. If you know,
man, I hope we do a good job in getting him not to do this.
Right. There's something that you love him enough that he's just not needy enough to want to do this.
Yeah. It's like what? Yeah, because we talk about, you know, our own reasons for going into this. Like, what was that need to have that approval?
Right.
You know, and I can tie mine into, you know, moving a lot and feeling like, you know, kind of ignored over my siblings and, you know, having like checked out conversations with parents and you go like, oh, maybe that's what fed into the psyche to want to be an entertainer basically. And so you go like, oh man, I'm going to try to do those things really well so that, well, just to do them well, but then hopefully he's like, I love banking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like
your big shock is finding out he's secretly doing open mic nights.
Oh my God.
Are you sure you're just not gay? Anything else? But you know, I always think, like, if you look at Rob Reiner and his...
Yeah, but then, by the way, I would be like, hey, dude, you cannot use my fucking last name, all right? Like,
oh, you'd make him go off into his own?
Absolutely. You can't fuck with what I'm doing up here.
Yeah.
You're open micer, and they'll say Segura, and then it comes to your sorry ass? No way.
But I was thinking Rob Reiner, his dad, of course, Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
Rob, as a little kid, got to see the funniest people of that time. And your kid is going to go through that whether it's conscious or not.
Right.
He's going to know not only are his parents funny, but everybody that
comes over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And the other thing I think about is, you know, when I hear my parents tell stories, it's always from memory of like this and that. There's a picture or something. My kid is going to have, by the time he's older, probably like 1,000 hours of video footage of his parents having conversations, and conversations like who his dad wants to fill up and seal shut with cum, and like, and then his mom being like, you know, whose dick I'd like to suck. It's like when we do like crazy bits like that, and also just to see like what my parents really talk like, because you always have that thing where you go like, you don't know what that relationship's really like. And even though when we do this show we're aware that we're on a show, I think there's a lot of genuine moments, you know. And I think it's going to be so unique for a kid to be able to actually see his parents have hours of back and forth conversation. I mean, I know I'd be fascinated by it if that existed, where I could watch my parents, you know.
I hadn't even once thought of this, because even if it's just one parent doing it, you're like, oh, that's dad, he's performing.
Right.
But when it's your mom and dad together, that thing is just too strong.
Yeah.
That's them. That's your folks.
That's your folks, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, he's going to need a lot of help, a lot of therapy for that kid.
I mean, he's going to be fucked up. Yeah. I mean, completely, you know.
We always talk about how he's just going to be like, none of your fucking jokes are funny. You guys suck. Like, and we're like,
hopefully he'll just be able to roll with the bet and be just like, I'll tell you who I'd fuck. And she's at school right now, and I know she's a teacher, but she's just amazing. But the chances are that'll be the survival thing that he goes for that.
That's true.
But the beautiful thing is, just let him, whatever direction. That's the thing about, if you ever look back, for me, at parenting, just like, let them go off and do some of these things. Let them, you know, who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? We could have a show together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could end up, or being pushed out.
Yeah.
But, But yeah, you could end up where it's just three of you doing a show one day.
That would be hilarious, man.
Yeah.
I know.
It would be so funny, and by that time, you know, it'll be easy to do it for anyway, so he'll be sitting in the back seat, and like a little fake car seat, the car will be driving itself. He's just doing like, I'm going to pick up a 20-minute riff right here. Just go with it. I mean, that's the thing about this, that when you start it, there's no way you could understand that podcasting would be a thing that was real.
No.
And that was been as effective for your career as anything. So what's next? What is coming that we can't even imagine right now?
You know, everything is to a degree oversaturated, which means that I feel like in the case of oversaturation, the best of do stand out, right? Because there's just so much. And then it's always means that it's like on the brink of something new kicking off as well, you know?
Right.
So I feel like, not that this is totally new, but I feel like video-wise, that hasn't been tapped into as hard, actually seeing, because like podcasts, even though people stream them video or show YouTube, it's still like an audio medium.
Sure, you're doing it while you're doing something else.
Yeah. But I feel like that, you know, the on-demand aspect, video, the fact that video producing is cheap and video editing can be done cheap, I just feel like there's some aspect of that will take off, where people will be creating, like you see obviously mini versions of it with like Vine, Instagram, but I feel like, you know, it's so cheap now to be able to put together a video, a show. You can do it. It's on every, like, you see how many TV shows are out there now, and that now it's on like Amazon makes shows, and it's like, I just feel like that will trickle down to people doing that themselves. They won't even be looking for Amazon or Hulu or Netflix to do it. They'll just do it themselves. And I think comedians are going to do that a lot.
Just everybody is going to be in a video TV show.
Yeah.
Almost all the time.
Yeah.
You know, that you'll just be on a plane with people. Like, here we go.
Here we fucking go.
It's all virtual reality. And just like, okay. Each one of these people here will have their own show.
Yeah.
And part of their shows, they're watching our dumbasses.
Yeah.
It's just,
like everyone here is going to be holding their camera up.
Yeah. The camera
we'll
is
hold
just
it back.
be in their eyes somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the weird thing about it, you know?
Yeah.
Because people look back on these phones that we think are so advanced and go, oh my God. They'll be like the way that our kids look at phone booths. And go, was that a thing?
An iPhone? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the iPhone will be like, you could touch it.
Yeah.
And then it would do what you wanted. And they'd be like, like, all you got to do is wink at it now.
Right.
And like,
just think of something and it happens.
Yeah.
But like we said, it wasn't that long ago that when you got Netflix, I'm like, I don't know. Like if someone tells me they have a show that, because I grew up with where I think the shows are supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's also, and like when you think about viewership numbers, do you ever like watch, 20 years ago, there were multiple shows that would get like 10 and 15 and 20 million viewers and more, because limited number of shows. Now there's so many networks, so many shows like we're talking about, that it's like they consider like 500,000 is like a victory.
They're like, great, yeah.
that's great, man.
But I had Alan Alda on this show once. I mean, and the last MASH that they did, 125 million people watched it. And you're just like, and it's just a show. You know what I mean? It's not like it was 9/11 or something.
Right.
You know? Like something like that could get everybody paying attention. But just to have the end of a show now, no, it's nowhere near that kind of.
So that trend is going to increase still. Because it's going to grow even more, which means eyeballs, again, like there's just too many options. Still, there will be a Big Bang. I think they get like 20 million, but like after that, it's a steep drop off, man. It's a steep drop off.
And that, I think, even shows like that, I think are watched by older people who grew up where it's, Monday at 8, my show was on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you do your podcast, you just put it out there and it's getting hit at all different times.
It's getting hit at all different times, and I don't even see really what happened until the next week.
Right.
Like that's when I check in because I do the next one. The next one goes up, so you see how the last week tracked, and then that's basically it. But yeah, I mean, it's an incredible the consumption world. Everything is, like I was telling the Netflix people like that. It's funny when you put out a special, the day of you'll get like 500 messages that say like, when's the next one? And you're like, Jesus, like.
Yeah.
Do you know how long this took to put together?
Yeah.
But that's more indicative of today's culture of like entertainment now. It's like, when you do a YouTube vlog, all the most popular ones with the most subscribers, they have a daily schedule. They make a vlog, a video today, and then tomorrow the same thing. And so that your consumers are like, oh, I'm back for more. But that has like spilled into things like, Netflix shows or stand-up specials where they go like, I saw your special, so when's the next one come out? And you're like, fucking 2018?
Yeah.
I don't know, a while from now?
Yeah.
It's not going to be tomorrow because of the way that stand-up specials are built, you know?
But also, when people look at you, you look like you're just thinking of it and saying it. And
Right.
that's a problem of a good stand-up, because you don't see how hard it is to
Right.
get to that point.
Oh, yeah. And like how you may have said that bit for 6 months
Right.
one way, and you still didn't have it figured out. And then one night you tried something and it clicked, and you're like, yeah, that took me half a year to get to that point, for that one bit. And that's how bits really develop.
Sure.
You know? So it's
Or
just
sometimes you even think they're done, but then something gets
Yep.
tagged and you're like, okay, no, that's 10 times more.
it gets. I always feel like that happens on the nights when you're like not really there almost.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, whatever, there's 20 people at this show. So instead of like doing the bit the way you do it, your mind goes off in a different way, and you say something different, and then you're like, oh shit,
Yeah, right.
I should have thought of this
Yeah.
a while ago.
Because you were awake again, because
Yeah.
something wasn't working,
Right.
and you go off autopilot. Or maybe the audience goes off autopilot,
Yeah.
you know? It always amazes me that people go, this is the way you're supposed to react to jokes, too. Like, the people will like, yes, bop, bop, yeah, bop, bop, ah.
Have you
like
s-
little babies when I
Yeah.
watch.
Have you seen Have you seen comics just like yell at audience before for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I did this Vegas gig once where this guy was like, "That is where you laugh," and the audience still was like, he's like, "I've been doing this for years." Then people always laugh right there, and
Right.
I was like, "That's why they're not laughing, because you've never changed it."
Yes, it starts to deteriorate right
Yeah.
there in front of you. Do you, if you look at this, do you think where you want to be in 5 years, or you just play it out as it's going?
I mean, yeah, I think about it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, I'd be lying if I said I don't want to have, continue on this path and hope that it works out, have success. But again, I don't feel like that thing where like I don't think you force stuff like that.
Right.
It comes together. So I think I'll be more focused just on what I'm doing. And I hope that like one of the, development show things works out for me. I hope to do another special next year. And I hope I can keep on that path of kind of doing them every few years. And if it goes well for me, I'll be very thankful, but I don't think I can force it,
I think it's also interesting how when people just accept when you get to the next level successfully. You know what I mean? Like, I even think when I thought of you, I thought, okay, here he is. Oh, no, he's up here. Wait, after that last one, he's here. You know what I mean? But then you just go, that's, I think that's what happened with Ray Romano, is like at a certain point, something broke through and people went, oh, that's Ray. He's
there.
He's up there, and there's no reason for him to come down. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Isn't that what the way to do it?
No, yeah. I think, is to, well, and this is something that I will say that you do really well, is wherever you are, you act like you belong there.
You
act like you belong there.
Yeah.
You don't look like you sweat it. And I think that's why you were able to walk out in front of that Chappelle audience and people went, oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, man. That comes also with time and with age, with doing this a while. I feel like if you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I feel like the best thing that ever happened to me is that the success I have achieved is like kind of, it's been over a long period of time. It really makes me look at like really young, successful people, and I go like, wow, to be able to deal with that must be a thing, because I don't feel like if I was achieving what I achieved now at like 23 or something, I think that'd be overwhelming.
Well, you'd be dead. And we were like, hey, there's a guy.
Yeah.
He really could have made it.
Yeah.
He really could have went the long haul. But, just another thing to give yourself credit for, you cannot plan gradual success any more than anything else either. Like, what you did is also as much luck than if you just walked into some room. It was great for you,
Yeah.
Dude, we're all happy for you, though. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool when it happens to the good ones. Tom Segura, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
So much.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, pal. Thanks, buddy.